I really enjoy that song.
Thank you. I can in the description, not in the live streams. I should add it in the live streams now, but in my videos, there's a link to it.
Yeah.
Hey everybody!
Hey,
We're starting out today with just telling me I need to fix all the things. Oh, that's not that one. Oh well, I need to fix all the things. I hope everybody is as excited or at least mildly interested in today as I am, because I have consumed 60 episodes of Sailor Moon, and these 3, and up to this, because this like the 4th one isn't all season 1, but and let me tell you, it was 48 episodes of a version of season 1, and then 13 episodes of another version of season 1, and then so many chapters. 10
of season 1.
10 chapters of season 1. So, and I want more.
Listen, don't at me. I may have Sailor Moon on in another tab. Don't at me. Because I may have been watching it before the stream started.
I'm also really excited because I have a reason to wear my Luna and Artemis dress. Like, my sister bought it for me, and she was like, I don't know if you'll ever wear it or where you'll ever wear it too, because I'm not like a casual dress person. And I was like, I'll find some way someday. 4 years later, I found a way.
Secretly, it was all a ploy to get her to wear this dress. That's it.
Yep.
Yes.
Just a ploy.
Also, shout out to my sister Tabby, who sat through those 60 episodes with me and helped me take all my notes and made me die when she made a joke about Nephrite. I'll share that later.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I don't understand what you said.
It's fine. It's fine.
You need no context for the joke. It's fine.
Cool.
My first time. Yeah. Oh, it is. Special shout out to Matt, who ever since I got the new intro has been my filler guest.
Finish the month.
Sailor Moon, Sailor Moon. I am so mildly interested. Yes. Thank you. Also, Fox, like, I had taken my photos for thumbnails for the year, and then so that I didn't have to worry about taking any more, and I'm like, I'm good. If I have time or if I do any more photo shoots, I can have more for the live stream thumbnails. And then Fox was like, so for your Sailor Moon one, do you like want to do a special Sailor Moon thumbnail? And I was like, yes. I have just the dress. I'm like, I'm fairly certain he had no idea I owned this.
But I wouldn't be that surprised if he did know you owned it.
Right.
And then I had like 2 sets of Sailor Moon earrings in and everything. And when I showed my sister the picture, she's like, I bought you all of that. Like, literally every piece of Sailor Moon you're wearing, I bought. And I'm like, bet you did.
You did. You did do that, didn't you?
Nefrito. So if I say any of the characters' names in a heavy accent, it is because I enjoy Queen Beryl's way of saying things in the Japanese version.
Oh,
Jiraito is probably my favorite thing ever. It's just when he comes into her room and she's like, Jiraito. I love it. So threatening. Oh, so at the beginning of the stream, I have a 30-second countdown with my theme song, my unofficial official theme song. We discussed. Oh yes, Jessica is as knowledgeable about Sailor Moon as you are, CB.
Oh, good. Cool. Which is not at all for those.
Okay.
Nothing.
So
there's dresses.
Cody and I
in the pigtails.
Cody and I are very excited. We have all the things. CB has several very good questions. So go ahead and introduce yourselves before we get into this.
Okay. I'm CB Ferrenz. I'm a young adult fantasy author. I have a YouTube channel and Instagram and all that stuff linked below. I'm also a college student and teenager, so I talk about all of those things and how they come together. I also do funny skits with funny characters and costumes and weird voices. So That's me. Also, I know nothing about Sailor Moon.
Nothing at all.
She is our audience surrogate.
Yeah. I have so many questions.
We have all the answers. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm back again. My name is Cody Keller. I am a gay creator, as you can tell by the rainbow flag in the back. I make gay shit because straight people have it way too good for way too long. There it is. I am currently working on my debut novel. It is a paranormal romance with werewolves and shit and witches. And who knows when that's coming out. It's my current and only project. Follow me on social media while I figure out how to use it because I still don't know what I'm doing. I need help, a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I've been a huge Sailor Moon fan ever since I was 4 when it came out. And that's me. Hello, hi.
And I am writing mom Samantha Nasset on my channel. I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. I host these live streams on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I make videos on Wednesdays. I have a newsletter if you want to keep up with all things Sam. I will link my Ko-fi below because Jessica told me that I forgot to put it in this live stream, but it will be there.
Yeah, money.
Yes.
And today, in the name of fandom, I'm going to educate you on Sailor Moon.
I'm guessing that's a reference.
Yes.
Yes, Sailor Moon's all like, I'm Sailor Moon, and then in the name of the moon, I will punish you.
Huh.
Each Sailor Guardian has their own little intro.
Oh, did they say it?
Sailor Moon,
a lot?
Sailor Moon, every episode.
Yeah, every time they transform.
And Sailor Moon's Japanese is Oshiokyo. It's the only one I know in Japanese. Yeah, ours is like, I will chastise you. What's Mercury's?
Drown yourself in water and repent, because it's my favorite.
No, that's the crystal one. Is every time she says it, I'm like, she telling me to be baptized?
But listen, it's my favorite one. I didn't say which one it came from. It's just still my favorite.
Okay, so a few disclaimers. One, there's going to be so many spoilers. We're not even going to attempt to hide any of them. So if you care about spoilers, I apologize. There's just
Bye.
all of them.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, sorry, guys. I have to leave.
Like, you know what? My mom's calling. I gotta go.
Yeah.
No spoils.
Another thing is that due to how large Sailor Moon is and how much I wanted to attempt to fit into this stream, we are only going to be covering season 1, which is the Dark Kingdom arc. That's all we're going to talk about. So when we answer questions like who's our favorite character, blah, 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 it will only be season 1, the Dark Kingdom arc. We may occasionally make references to later in the series as it pertains to season 1, but that's all we're going to do for now. And okay, so for those who don't know, Sailor Moon is not just a shoujo anime. It is actually the first magical girl team anime. Magical girl manga and anime had existed before Sailor Moon. However, the publishers approached, let me see her name, Naoko Takachi, I think is how you say her name. They had approached her when she was making her manga, codenamed Sailor V, and they asked her, hey, we want to do a magical team girl anime, kind of like how there's, magical boy animes like Power Rangers and all of that. And she was like, oh, well, yeah, sure, that sounds fun. Let's do that. And thus they made Sailor Moon. So it is literally a genre starter.
What's magical girl anime?
So magical girl anime is basically when the main characters are girls who use magic powers to transform into superheroes. It's very,
I didn't know it was a whole genre.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't the age roughly like middle school to like early high school too for magical girl?
Most magical girl animes, they target elementary to high school because there are some for much younger audiences. Sailor Moon specifically begins middle school. All of the main characters are 14 in the first season.
All the main girls are.
Yes, the main girls. Well, I'm debating if I count Darien as the main character.
I mean, Mamoru is not in high school.
No, actually,
or he's not in middle school. It depends on which one you watch.
He's 17 though. Sometimes he's a high school senior. In some versions, he's a college freshman. However, the other disclaimer I wanted to make is, like, we will be discussing the 90s anime, Crystal, and the manga. We will not be discussing any other versions. For those of you who don't know, Sailor Moon was literally a cultural phenomenon. There are musicals, there are ice rink musicals, there are plays, there are live actions, there are movies, there are so many things.
There's so much.
Literally, there are 2 different versions of the manga itself. This is a pocket mix manga, which was printed in the 90s when I was a wee child. And then here's the reprints of the manga, which came out later. I don't remember what year, but so as you can see, there's just like so much. So those are the only 3 we're really going to be discussing. All right.
I've noticed that a lot of the animes, at least that I've seen in my very, very small pool, are like all about 15-year-olds. Like, just there's a lot of 15-year-olds almost dying. Or dying.
Yes, it's
15-year-olds.
Yes.
It's just like, make it past that age, you're good. But
you hit 15. Well, it's taken.
There are some animes that are about older characters, such as like Cowboy Bebop. They are definitely not teenagers in that one, but yeah, the majority of anime is. It's there's actually different levels of anime. Like shonen and shoujo are targeted to like teens and young adults. I cannot remember the word for the one targeted to small children, but it's like those ones would be like Hikaru no Go, Pokemon, The Legend of Zelda. Those are all technically for like elementary kids.
It's pretty much like books. You know, there's middle grade, YA, new adult.
This is gonna sound really stupid, and I think Sam's gonna be really disappointed with me. But The Legend of Zelda's a show?
Oh no, manga. I was talking about manga. They're used.
It's a manga?
No, there is
a video game.
Cartoon. It is a video game.
I thought it was just a video game.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm not surprised it's not.
There's also a cartoon from the 80s, which, like, if you ever see me use the line "Excuse me, princess" in any writing, it's referencing that.
Yeah.
Because like every episode, Link went, "Excuse me, princess." I did a horrible thing, but.
Okay.
And he was sassy about it.
So sassy. All right. I'm looking at CB's list of questions. Was there any specific question you wanted to ask real quick? Like which one do you prefer?
Which one do you want to start with?
Yeah.
Me? Oh.
Yeah, you.
I didn't write this one down, but what's the show about?
Okay, so the show follows our main character, who it tells you this at the beginning of every episode. That's an old anime thing.
Yes.
I don't remember
Yes.
if anyone's doing it.
I've noticed that.
It also gives you a glimpse
yes.
into what that episode is.
It's like, I've been binging. Trust me, I know the backstory. Can we get to the plot? Hurry up!
So, Usagi Tsukino is a 14-year-old girl who gets approached by a magic alien cat and is told that she is a sailor guardian. And so she uses her magic powers to fight monsters and to help protect people. And throughout the season, she befriends and works with 4 more sailor guardians as they literally just fuck the bad guys up and kill people, and then also deal with PTSD from doing this. And it explores that, like, this is a thing that they have to choose to do, and what would happen if they don't do it. So, and it's fun. The 90s anime it takes the manga's concept and it expands on it because they had, more story time to tell things. And so it also hits on stuff like female friendship and, working through life issues and personal problems and romance and the different kinds of love and affection you can feel for people.
Okay.
So it's a magical girl show, but it's also grounded in reality.
Also, it does this thing where, like, well, I wouldn't say grounded in reality so much it just handles real world issues. One of the things I appreciate about Sailor Moon that a lot of animes don't do, even like newer animes to this day, they don't, like, okay, so you'll be watching something and then shit will go down and you're like, why are the regular people not noticing any of this? Sailor Moon addresses that. Like, there's an episode in season 1 where Jadeite projects himself into the clouds and uses an illusion to, like, say, Sailor Moon, if you don't come here so that we can fight, I'm gonna burn the city down. And then on the news the next day, they're like, there was a weird thing in the sky and it looked like the city burned, and police are looking into this.
Yeah.
So anybody with information, and then like it goes to her at school and she's like really kind of depressed because she's thinking about this. She's like, oh, we gotta go to like the airport and fight him, but I don't want to because that's scary. And like her classmates are like, do you think it's a hoax? Should we go to Did we go to the airport? Like, should we see what's going on? And she's
Are you
all
guys
like,
gonna sneak out there tonight? Because like I kind of want to.
That's such a teenager thing. If someone threatened like where I was and like did one of those things, I'd be like, I want to go.
and Usagi, she's just like, no, everyone should go home and study and not go anywhere near here. And her teacher's like, are you sick? Do you have any
yes.
What's wrong with you? So that's
It's
the other
really
thing.
funny.
Like, some people don't like Sailor Moon or anything because they think that, you know, she's whiny and immature and everything. And it's like, that's valid because she is. She's also a 14-year-old teenager. So she's very realistically a teenager.
Yeah.
The entire series does actually a group of superhero. Yes, the Moon Princess. So for when I was younger, I was like, how does nobody know that she's the Moon Princess? And they're all like, we're looking for the Moon Princess and she's Sailor Moon. But I actually, like, because I was analyzing it this go around, and only the bad guys say we're looking for the descendant of the moon. The good guys just say we're looking for a princess.
Yeah.
So now I'm just judging the bad guys.
It's just like, wow, y'all are fucking up so bad. Like, ooh.
She's the descendant of the moon.
Oh, there's a lot to get into. So they are so in Sailor Moon, the scouts, the guardians, the reason they have these magic powers. Now in the manga and Crystal, they are descended. They were like way back in ancient times. They were a race of moon people who had longer lifespans, and it was their job to protect the Silver Millennium, which was the Moon Kingdom, and the Silver Crystal, which is this crystal that has the power to destroy a planet. It was their job to make sure nobody fucked that up, and they watched over Earth and protected it. In the 90s anime, it's pretty much the same, except each additional guardian is also a princess of her planet. So, like, Sailor Mercury is the Princess of Mercury, and she just moved to the moon to become in Sailor Moon's personal guard, because that's what you do in ancient times when you're an alien person.
When you're an alien person, the moon's calling. You gotta go.
A bunch of shit. Hello? Am I still here?
Yes.
Yes. Hello?
You are no longer here, Sam.
Oh no. Oh no.
I lost her. Also, Chris is saying in the chat that he's getting more of the Lunar Chronicles, and I'm happy.
Oh well. Oh no, we have to entertain the masses. CB, what do we do? Oh no.
Let's go over the different nerdy stickers on my guitar case. I mean, I have a lot. I'm really proud of them.
They do look really nice.
Thanks. There's the Captain Marvel shield hat, and then. Apparently, Sam's connection died.
Yeah. Oh.
Is Sam back?
Yes, I see a Sam.
Yeah. So what was the last thing you heard?
Did my connection go out? And then then your connection went out. Yeah.
Am I still there? Yeah.
Okay. So for the Silver Millennium. Well, then this sun demon thing, like,
alarming.
Yes. So our Moon Princess back in the Silver Millennium, she falls in love with the Prince of the Earth Kingdom at the time. But it's like a doomed love because, you know, she's got a long lifespan. He's got a short lifespan. But they're like, YOLO, we love each other. And so, but then, like, there's this little, like, court woman named Beryl. And Beryl's all like, but I loved him too. And I'm actually an Earth woman, bitch. And so Queen Natalia, the sun demon, is all like, hey, you give me your soul, I'll give you power, we'll fuck her up. And she was like,
You want to make a deal, children?
she's like, sounds good to me, bitch. And so
Great
like
decision-making skills.
she becomes the evil Queen Beryl, who then
Hmm.
like corrupts everyone on Earth and starts
Of
a war
course.
with. She starts a war with the moon.
Nasty.
And so during the battle, Prince Endymion dies, and then
Oh.
in the 90s anime, before he dies, he's just like being beamed away from her. She like jumps in to try to catch and save him, and then so they both are murdered at the same time. In the manga,
The
and
queen,
Crystal,
the lady that was a human and the other point of the love triangle died via beaming as well.
no, she didn't die. She was actually winning the battle. She's like,
Yeah.
I killed both of y'all. I'm fucking winning. But like, yeah, so in Crystal and the manga, upon like she actually is just kind of still a regular person with a sword, and she goes to kill the Moon Princess, and he's all like, no, and dies instead.
yeah.
And then the Moon Princess is like, oh no, my man died, and grabs a sword and kills herself. And I'm like, but okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so then
don't take advice from Romeo and Juliet. Just don't. They don't have good decision making.
You know what?
But then in both, the Queen of the Moon, which is our main character's mama,
Yes.
the current goddess of the moon, is all like, what the fuck? My kid's dead. Shit's going down. Now, the way the Silver Imperial Crystal works, for me, is fascinating because it works based on their willpower, their love, and their desire to protect, right? So, like, the stronger their will, the stronger the crystal is. This also means that when you're in shock and grieving your child's death, you might not use the crystal at the best. So she ends up just kind of like wiping everyone out and then sending them all to the future to be reborn. Like, good guys, bad guys, they're just all going to be reborn in the future. She puts the cats in these little like stasis chambers. The alien
for suspended animations.
We're not sending the cats to the future.
No, they're going.
No, they get to sleep.
They're just not going to be reborn because they need
They
their
take
memory
the long way round,
so that they can train the guardians when they wake up in case Queen Natalia wakes. And then because we've also got high tech shit in the manga, her consciousness is uploaded to the moon's central computer. In the anime, it's just like in the anime, there's just like this I don't know, just magic.
It's a
magic.
Like
it's a mix between a soft and a hard magic system. Sometimes they explain it, and sometimes they're just like, it's magic, bitch. Accept it. And I'm like,
you know what? Moon magic.
Exactly. So there's that.
Mystical moon magic.
Romeo and Juliet is the greatest. So
is it though?
I mean,
so yeah, that's what happened. So like in the present day, they are Earthlings. They are like born from Earth parents, and they have families. They just were moon people.
So it's reincarnation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
They're reincarnated, and they look exactly spitting image of what their old selves look like.
To the point, they don't necessarily look like their birth parents.
Like to the yes.
Oh.
Especially when your mother has purple hair and your dad has brown hair and you have blonde hair for some reason.
In the manga, she has pink hair. They made it blonde.
That doesn't make it better.
Well, purple and pink goes better.
Wait,
but also,
wait.
I mean, to be fair, my hair doesn't match my
Oh.
parents. So
Usagi has pink. In the manga, all of their hair is actually the color of their element.
And that would explain why a person that shows up later also has pink hair. But okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But they changed it to yellow because like it looked better on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. That's a thing that they do. It's basically a test of, can you tell who the main character is? Just from this image alone?
Those.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they do. It's like, in this crowd of 40 people, who are the main characters?
I saw one of that where it was My Hero Academia's class 1A,
okay.
and people were like,
So okay, so No, she had pink hair as Usagi and Sailor Moon. Then when she turns into Princess Serenity, her hair turns white. That's like supposed to be a visual cue that she has taken on her princess form. And
Yes.
they're stronger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, a lot stronger. A lot more emotional. My favorite thing ever is in the beginning of every episode. It goes through the whole same thing. Like, my name is Usagi Casino. I'm 14 years old. I'm a Cancer. Some people say I'm emotional, and I'm like, yeah, 'cause you're a Cancer. Y'all are emotional.
So it's like the Backyardigans opening thing. Hi, I'm Pablo.
Literally, yeah. It's wild. It's the same thing every time, and I'm just like, skip. Just gotta whoop.
I'm being distracted by Sam's cats. Sorry.
I'm just letting your questions lead the discussion for the moment.
Yes.
Just looking through my questions. Do you like I added 2 more.
I see that, but go ahead. No, I mean I'm letting you pick the questions that lead the discussion. Right?
Okay. This is gonna launch a really actually let's start. Who are the main characters before we get into the
Okay, so there's Usagi Tsukino, who's Sailor Moon / the Moon Princess. She's our main character. And then there's Sailor Mercury, who is Amy. She's like the smart one.
Mizuno is her last
Is she ginger?
Mizuno. No, she's
Mizuno.
Okay, just wondering.
Nope, she's blue.
Yeah. Then there's Rei Hino, because apparently Cody's gonna get me if I don't use their full names.
I mean, you're happy. I'm just you said Usagi Kusino, and you just went Ami. I'm like, no, hold on. You do what you do them all.
There's a habit there, okay?
You do them all.
So Amy Mizuno. Now I'm combining her and Ray's name. Amy Mizuno, who is Sailor Mercury, and she's like genius level smart, super smart.
Yes.
Okay.
One thing I appreciate about that is in the 90s anime, in order to like showcase how smart she is, as opposed to using like a chess game or anything like that, Usagi takes her to an arcade and she teaches her how to play a video game, and Amy catches on to how to play the video game very quickly, which shows that she has really good hand-eye coordination and, you know, all of that. Yes, her IQ is 300. Although in the new dub, they use a Dragon Ball Z meme when they introduce her, and Umino is like, "She's like a genius. Her IQ is over 9,000," and I died.
I love it. I love the moment I heard that. I was like, yes, yes, it's great.
And then the next is Rei Hino, who is a Shinto priestess, who are called Mikos when they're younger. Okay. And she actually displays psychic and supernatural powers when she's not Sailor Mars. And like she can exorcise demons and evil spirits and stuff, and they do that sometimes in the episodes, which is really like kind of fun. Yes.
Do they have to have their fun outfits on to have magic powers?
Sometimes, but not always. Like most of them.
Like 99% of the time, until that 1% where they're like whatever.
They don't have to have them on, but they usually have them on.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. It's mainly Rei that doesn't, because she can still exorcise demons outside of her cool outfit. Because it's
she's trained as a priestess.
Yeah, so. Her exercising doesn't involve her cool outfit.
Also, a fun fact.
No,
her being a priestess is actually based on the author's time as a priestess when she was younger.
Oh.
Casually a priestess. Okay.
Just casual.
You know.
Oh yes.
One does.
So fun fact: Rei is an Aries, and like there's an episode where she and Usagi get into a fight, and Usagi's like very concerned about this, and Luna is like, "Oh, you know, Rei, she's like quick to anger, but also quick to forgive." And I'm in a call watching this with my sister Tabby, who is an Aries, and I'm like, yes, just like all Aries, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up."
So I did a little wiki research. They're also all based off of zodiac signs. All 5 girls.
Oh yes, their personalities are. But and then we have but I can't remember who. Cody, Google that for me.
I'm literally like, excuse me while I chose.
But Yes, another fun fact about Sailor Mars is Martian Manhunter from comics.
Yeah.
He disguises himself as a news reporter named Rei Hino, and she is a Japanese woman with long black hair, and it is 100% a Sailor Moon reference. And
He's a fangirl.
Batman recognizes it and calls him on it.
That's
and
beautiful.
Because I'm like, it's like I heard that, and then years later, I'm just sitting there casually thinking about this, and I'm like, Batman watches Sailor Moon.
Casual.
The realization, you're
like, hold on,
Batman.
Batman's a Moonie.
The whole like Bat family just sitting down.
They're all have their popcorn.
Yes, and then there's Makoto Kino, who is Sailor Jupiter, and she is the tall scout. Yes.
She's the tall, strong one.
The muscle, but she's also like the girliest one, which I love.
Oh, you told me about her.
Yes.
So I found the Capricorn.
Yes.
It is Sailor Saturn.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. She's not in this first season. She is, however, one of my favorites overall. Now, a fun fact about Makoto / Sailor Jupiter is that despite the fact that she's like she's the tall one, they even like call her an Amazon sometimes. Like
Amazons.
Background character shit talking her. She's actually only 5'6".
Yeah, she's not that tall.
Yes, I'm an Amazon.
I am also an Amazon.
Because Tabby will get upset at it because she'll be all like, "Stop calling her that. She's only 5'6". And I'm like, "But Tabby, she's just taller than everybody else."
Which, when you look at them together, you're like, "Wow, these proportions are wild."
Yeah. So the other thing I appreciate, well, let me talk about the Mino. What's your last name? Ano?
Aizawa?
Excuse me.
Is that what it is?
I have no idea. That's just the teacher from My Hero Academia.
That's probably what I was thinking it was.
Okay.
Not even gonna lie.
No, it is Ano. Aino. It's Aino. So Mina.
Minako Aino. I never started with an A and end with an O.
Yeah, Minako Aino. So she's actually, she's interesting because Sailor Venus was Sailor V. Remember, I said earlier that the mangaka started writing codename Sailor V. So she was actually.
Why is it codename?
That she was just like a magic girl police detective.
Okay. The title was codename. I thought it was. It was called Sailor V, but you were like saying the manga was its codename was Sailor V. I'm like, it's a secret.
But when
no one can know.
When they approached her to do the team one, she was like, "Well, I want to add her in." So they actually wrote it in that Sailor V exists in the Sailor Moon universe. Usagi is actually a huge fan of Sailor V and plays the Sailor V video game all the time. There's an episode where they go to an anime studio and they're like working on a Sailor V cartoon show, which I'm like, is Mina getting the royalties for this? I need to know. Getting paid. But
this is a side note. I'm so sorry. But like, how do they get all this merch? Like everywhere. Like they have dolls, they have TV shows, they have video games. Like, how do y'all get this merch? Who's your producer? Who is this?
Producers.
See, that's what I need to know. I need to know if somebody like called her up and was like, "Excuse me, Sailor V,
right?
Can we merch you?
Hello, Mrs. V.
Are you copywritten?
Well, can we use your image? Can you sign some paperwork?"
But now in the original, in the manga and Crystal, she actually comes in claiming to be the Moon Princess. And part of that is because her original design, since she was the only scout, she had a crescent moon on her forehead instead of a tiara. So they wrote that into Sailor Moon as she was a decoy princess to keep Sailor Moon safe and hidden until she was trained to be strong enough to wield the crystal on her own. In the 90s anime, she just like comes in and Sailor Moon's like, "Are you the Moon Princess?" And she's like, "No."
I will say, as someone who's never seen Crystal or read the manga, I know I'm a fake fan, don't worry. I was watching Crystal and that happened. I'm like, what is this? What heresy is this? What is happening here? This is a farce.
Let
I
me
do
tell
not
you.
believe any of you.
Does
Cody-
Sailor Moon know she's the Moon Princess?
No, they don't have any memory of. I mean, she
Nope.
they get their memories of their old lives back, so she
That's-
figures it
Okay.
out. But no, like when they get Sailor Mars, they're like, Luna, what is the point of being like? What is our mission? And Luna's like, to find the princess. And
That's
they're
it.
like, oh, okay, and the crystal.
Mm.
We'll do that
Yeah.
too.
The legendary silver crystal and the princess, and they're just like, all right.
Like Usagi's all for it though. She's like, a princess? Let's find the princess. Princesses are cool.
Yeah.
I mean, valid.
And then they're like, you're the princess. And she's like, I don't know about that.
So,
I'm like,
but like, are we sure? Are we sure? Like, do we do a test?
Usagi's a Cancer, Ray's Aries, Amy is Virgo, Venus is Libra, and Mako is Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm. Also, Mako is best girl.
So in the original, because there's two different 90s dubs. There's one from the 90s and then the redub. And in the original, Usagi was Serena, which actually makes a lot of sense because her name was Serenity. And so Serenity, Serena. And then Amy was Amy, but spelled with a Y instead of an I. Ray was Ray, but spelled R-A-Y instead of R-E-I. Makoto became Lita. And Minako just became Mina. Like,
Okay.
I am trying to figure out why Lita, and I just
I'm like,
Lita's the weird one, but okay.
why?
Jupiter is badass. Funny
Mako is
thing,
best girl.
the chief of police in codename Sailor V figured out her secret identity, and it doesn't help the chief. Well, I haven't read Sailor V in a long time. I didn't do that for prep for this stream. But in the episode in season 1 of the 90s anime, when they go back and she's telling Usagi about the police chief, it says that like they helped each other on one mission and then they became friends, and Minako told her who she was. She didn't like figure it out. She just they were bestest of buddies until a man came between them.
Yeah. It's always the damn men's.
There's a point I want to make about that later, but we're letting CB for I have a time in my mind when I'm going to start addressing my points. So
like, which one of my questions?
Yes.
You have like corresponding questions with your answers.
Hold on, I'm collecting the manga, but I haven't read it. I want to read it all, but I found out you can buy the manga.
Magic.
It's just pure magic.
I mean, I would pay so much money.
Oh my
god. You can buy the manga via ebooks. I almost did because I'm like, I do not want to dig through my garage to find my manga, but then I'm like, no, they're $11 a pop. I can't not no. So I was like, you know what? These are good enough. These are fine.
They're fine. They're cool.
I won $50 on an Amazon like for a contest at my school. I won $50, and I'm like fighting the urge to spend it on getting the My Hero Academia manga.
So,
but
Melvin was Umino and Molly was Naru.
Ugh. Oh, like also Melvin for Umino.
That is a terrible name. I'm sorry to anyone named Melvin. Your parents are terrible people.
To be fair, Melvin starts out as a really creepy nerd boy.
I was gonna say, Melvin
if your name is Melvin, you are a creepy nerd boy.
Like, he starts out as a creepy nerd boy, so it fits him.
Well, look, we weren't discussing codename Sailor V, Ree. We were discussing Sailor Moon season 1.
I didn't sign up for Sailor V. I was unaware of this.
Yeah, they regionalized them. I say regionalized, not Americanized, because the European ones also had different names. So
Fox agrees with me. Fox agrees with me on the Melvin point. I just want everyone to know.
I was just saying you were right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just feel validated.
Who the fuck is Magic Max? You have lost me. Okay, so CV, your next question.
Okay, you just want me to ask. Do you want me to ask the number 2 question?
Go ahead.
All right. What are some of the biggest debates in the fandom, and which side do you take?
All right, staying to season 1 debates, no matter how much I want to ask us other ones. I have to actively think now. I had things.
I felt so powerful when I wrote this question.
Oh.
I was like, ha ha ha.
Okay, Tuxedo Mask. Is he a useless piece of shit, or does he have a point?
So, okay.
No,
So,
Hold on. Let me explain the two sides. This is me neutrally explaining the two sides. So I may sound opinionated, but I'm going to just try to from the perspective of both sides, and then I will let Cody share his side, and then I will tell my side. So on the one hand, there are many episodes where Tuxedo Mask comes in, throws a rose, says some things, and then poofs out of existence in the 90s. And in the manga and the Crystal, there's actually several times when like all he really does is come in, say something nice, and then Sailor Moon does everything, and then poof, he's gone again. There's even a part where he's like, "Man, I don't have any powers. I'm pretty useless."
I kind of love that though.
It gives him issues, man. He feels bad. He's like, oh.
he knows he's a useless piece of shit.
And then there are people who are like, but when he comes in and he throws that rose, if he didn't throw the rose and like break the ball so that they're unparalyzed, they might have died. If he doesn't come in and encourage Sailor Moon, she might not have got her shit together and killed the villain. So it's like,
moral support.
Exactly, like moral support's important. So those are the two sides of is he useless or not. Cody, where do you sit? I'm going to put answers on screen. Go ahead.
See, my problem with Tuxedo Mask as a character is the fact that a lot of times he's a useless piece of shit. But like,
is he a piece of shit or is he just useless? Because those are
he's saying useless in like a useless piece of shit. Not
he's not a good person.
No, he's amazing. Go on, Cody.
I'm so confused.
I have a hot take on that.
We'll go over that in a second.
Okay. We'll deal with that later because that's a whole rant in itself. But for me personally, like I don't enjoy Tuxedo Mask just showing up being like, Sailor Moon, do the thing. Goodbye. Because that's literally what happens.
Sailor Moon, remember that you need the power of girls because, like, how dare these evil people fuck with girls?
Literally, yeah.
Whoosh.
Whoosh. And also, bear in mind, every single villain, like, outside of, like, the main 4 dudes are all ladies.
That's kind of
Everyone.
That is 90% accurate. I had a tracker. I kept track.
She did, yeah.
So,
like,
women.
Keep in mind, every single, like, villain, like, every monster are all ladies. All of them. Okay. There's some men, but mainly ladies. So like he just shows up. And it's just like always like with the same rose, just lands, and he's just like, whoosh, Sailor Moon, do the thing with the tiara.
Maybe he does have a magic power if he always manages to have like a rose on him. Maybe that's his magic power.
So I
Listen, I
kept track.
Yeah. Listen. She did.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Listen, yeah.
Sam!
Yeah. No, she sent me some of her notes, and I was like, I feel like terrible because I just watched the show.
Like literally for the past like few days, I've like texted Sam like usually, what are you up to? And she's like watching Sailor Moon, and I'm like, what are you up to? Reading Sailor Moon.
Literally all our conversations have been. She's just been like, I'm binging Sailor Moon. Here's some of my notes. I'm like, oh, these are good notes. I just watched the show.
Like literally, I messaged your sister. What are you up to? Oh, watching Sailor Moon with Sam.
My husband hasn't seen me in 3 days. My children don't know what their mother look like anymore.
So the worst part is, getting off tangent just a hot second, is I was halfway through season 2 of the 90s, and then Sam's like, oh yeah, we're going through Sailor Moon Crystal too, and I was like, oh no, I have to watch Crystal. This is like on Friday.
What I told you repeatedly
I forgot.
That we are covering Sailor Moon. This is what I am doing. You do not have to. And Cody just went, so that's what I have to do? And I'm like, nope, you don't. If you don't have it, he's like, so that's what I have to do. And
you literally, it's like, so I'm doing the same thing, right? We're doing the same thing. Okay.
No, I get that.
Yeah. So we could be on par. We could be on the same track. You say. So then she's like, oh yeah, we're doing Sailor Moon Crystal. I'm like, oh, looks like I'm binging Sailor Moon Crystal for the next 2 days. And I did, and I completed it.
I mean, like, are you sad about it, though?
So it depends.
So anyway, So
Anyway,
Cody,
so-
you're in the camp that he is
A useless piece of shit.
He's he's useless until he's not, which is very rare.
So
I mean,
so Cody's like 9 out of 10 times he's useless.
Yeah.
okay.
Like if he wasn't there, I wouldn't miss him.
So here's the thing that I figured out. I used to be in Cody's camp, to be honest.
Okay.
I was like, before he gets brainwashed and turns evil, fuck him as Tuxedo Mask. However, then I rewatched it and I realized something that the 90s anime did that I'm actually very impressed with. So as we discussed earlier, the scouts nobody remembers who they are. They're all reincarnated and stuff. As you hit on earlier, he actually does, in the 90s anime, he has magic powers. One of his magic powers, and this carries on into later seasons too, in a big way, is that he loves Princess Serenity, his soulmate, so much that his subconscious has a driving need to protect her no matter what.
Yeah.
So whenever she is in danger, he magically teleports to her to save her at the last minute. However, he doesn't know this.
How do you not know that?
So there's there was a whole plot point.
This is my
Yeah.
turn. So there's later in the episodes, you'll see him like 2 or 3 times this happens where he's going about his fucking day. There's an episode where he is grocery shopping. He has his grocery bags. He is on his way home. She gets in danger. It cuts to him. He starts flashing. His head hurts. And then he like turns into Tuxedo Mask and teleports to her. So like he literally has no control over this. But then at the end of that episode, he starts to become aware. Like he starts talking about how he had blacked out. He's like, I've been blacking out. I've had moments where I don't know what I was doing or where I was going. But then at the end of that episode, he goes, I'm Tuxedo Mask. And he like realizes it. And from that point on, he's actually there more and he engages in more of the fight. Like he goes 1v1 with Zoisite and stuff. Which is one of the 4 generals. So like he actually is there more. So I think that earlier on she wasn't in danger anymore, so he couldn't sustain the magic, so that's why he disappeared.
So it didn't make sense for his character to be there because that didn't work with his magic.
And so that's what he does. He comes in, and once her life isn't in danger anymore, he can't be there. And then there's like an episode where she and he get trapped together in an elevator and he's holding onto an elevator shaft and she's on his back and they're like having a conversation and she's like, why do you save me? And he's like, I don't know.
I have no idea.
I have a need to save you, like whenever you're in danger. And she's like, well, what do you want? And he's like, all I know is I'm like looking for something so that I can get my memories back. And that's in the original, that's all he remembers too.
That's terrifying for him though. I'm like, I have no idea.
Like in the manga, the first time you see him, he's in a tuxedo and he's like walking around and stuff, and you find out so you think you're like, oh, so in the manga and in Crystal, he's aware that he's Tuxedo Mask. But then there's a time when he's talking to her and he's like, well, at first I would just have these dreams of going in jewelry stores and looking for a crystal. And then I would wake up in a tuxedo and a mask walking down the street like a sleepwalker. And I'm like,
figure it out.
Sir, are you okay?
So he's just like, I don't know. I just decided to go with it. And now I'm trying to get my memory back because I'm having weird flashbacks. And I'm like, you know what? I would do the same if I just woke up in a tuxedo and a mask walking down the street. So I am no longer in the camp that he is a useless piece of shit because I now think it was actually a very clever storytelling device for his character arc.
And now I'm convinced you've converted me. You converted me.
Sam I was also thinking my power.
Power of conversion.
It varies from medium to medium. All of their personalities vary from medium to medium. So
what does that mean?
So like in the 90s anime, they have different personalities. In the manga, they have different personalities. Crystal's closest to the manga though. Now, here's another hot take that I want to talk about. A lot of people will say that Crystal is better than the 90s anime because it sticks to the manga. I hate this. I hate this. Here's why I hate this. I do not hate this because I feel Crystal is bad. I don't feel Crystal is bad. I feel Crystal's fine on its own. I hate that people feel the need to compare it because it's a form of anime gatekeeping. It's like, oh, well, this anime that is closest to the manga is better. And this is because of Sailor Moon, actually. It's because I know that the mangaka of Sailor Moon was involved in writing seasons 1 through 3 of Sailor Moon. She was there. She worked on it. There, if you read, I think this one, there is an interview in it where she says that she wrote Sailor Mars's introduction episode differently than she wrote the manga chapter, and she's excited for fans to tell the difference. So I'm like, if your only reason for telling me Crystal is better than the 90s one is because it sticks better to the manga, you can kindly fuck off, because that was not what the mangaka wanted in the first place.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like both. I like both for different reasons.
Exactly. There are good and bad points of both of them. There are things I like in different versions. My 12-year-old brain, like, I know, I love that elevator episode too. Okay.
Is that where the trope stuck in an elevator came from? Or has that been around before that?
That probably was around before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and share a semi out of context joke.
Okay.
Fox said he's a damn magical stalker. He is. But you know what? We stand.
I mean,
we stand the magical stalker.
It's an inside joke with me and Fox that I just happen to gravitate towards stalker characters. So, all right.
That's not alarming at all, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you okay? Blink twice if you need help.
My fiction is not the same as my reality.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, we're happy for that.
So the thing with Nephrite, so on the bad guy's side, there's Queen Beryl. Well, there's Queen Metalia, which Queen Metalia is this evil, dark energy thing from the sun, and then there's Queen Beryl, who's directly under her, and Queen Beryl rules over the Dark Kingdom. And then there's the 4 Kings of Heaven, also known as the 4 Generals of the Negaverse, if you watched it back in the 90s. One of them is called Nephrite. Nephrite has this. When I was younger, he was my favorite, and he was also Tabby's favorite. And there's his death scene used to make us cry. Now that we're older, there's a lot of side-eyeing, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is, like, he's injured, so he took off his jacket, and it's like 2, 3 in the morning. We've been watching Moon all day, and so we're a little bit sleep delirious. And and we made a snack joke earlier. Well, I'm all like, "Hey Tabby, look, he looked like a snack. He looked like a snackier snack with his coat off." And then right as I am about to say, maybe I'm making too many snack jokes. Remember, both Tabby and I know this is his death scene.
Yes.
Tabby says he's a snack who's about to expire, and I had to pause because I just died. I just could not. I slapped for like 5 minutes straight.
Nice.
I was like, Tabby, I can't. He is a snack who's about, because it's true.
It is. It's a truth. It's a truth.
But yes.
Unfortunate.
Okay. So we'll take one more CB question and then hit on one of my talking points.
Oh.
While CB thinks, I'm gonna go Tinkle just for the really quickest of the quickest.
Okay.
I shall be gone like the wind.
While Cody's gone, I'll tell you why all of his opinions are wrong.
Listen, we will.
Cool.
There will be rants later. I have opinions and I have thoughts.
Cody's like, I'll leave it on speaker.
Listen, don't test me. I'll be back.
Okay.
See ya.
Dun dun dun.
See, it's great. All right.
I picked my next question.
Well, what is your next question?
It's the who has your favorite character design?
Oh, who has my favorite character design in season 1? So one of the fun things about Sailor Moon is that the mangaka was really into fashion. And so a lot of her designs were from the fashion of the time. And with the 90s anime, they had a really good budget. So like they wore different outfits a lot. And when the seasons changed, so did their wardrobes.
That's
so I'm
great.
trying to think overall design, egocentrically, I like Jupiter's the most because as a kid I was like green-eyed brunette. But then I didn't like most of her clothes. I'm like, I would not wear your pink and green wardrobe. Hey Cody, we're going over our favorite character design.
Oh.
Other than Jupiter. Oh, yeah.
I was watching
probably Kunzite.
Favorite character, like in general, like from both seasons, or like
the first season.
Yeah, you can
or like
say
both
90s
both
or
versions.
90s or Crystal.
I was
Go ahead.
I was watching an anime and one second, my roommate just knocked. And there was everyone else had one outfit, but one character had a different outfit for every day that passed. So they had so many outfits, and everyone else just had one, and they'd had like a few reoccurring, but they had at least 10 outfits. And I just kept like watching, and then every time they'd change outfits, I'd just go like, we got another one. And everyone else stayed exactly the same. It was really funny.
So these are the 4 generals. And this one is Kunzite. I like his I love his design because like I like his little thing and I love his hair. My only thing is you see this little flap? It'll change how open it is, scene by scene. So sometimes it's like closed, and then other times like half his titties hanging out. And you're like,
half a tit.
See it like right here. As you can see.
Sir, put those away. This is a Wendy's, not Arby's. We don't have meat here. You need to put that away.
This is his crystal design, which I like both. Who's your favorite outfit?
Magnificent hair.
See, I like Sailor Jupiter's outfit.
Which one?
I like her 90s. I don't like that face.
The little thing on his shoulder, I thought he was going like that for a second. Like,
so
don't mind me, I'm going shopping.
There's a story behind that. That's actually from the scene where after Darien gets brainwashed and they're like the queen's all like, you gotta work with him, and he's like, or Darien goes, I don't want to work with that bitch, and he's like, I don't want to work with this bitch either. And then they just have like the strongest side-eye war ever.
It's so great.
So I need to know which of her 90s outfits, because as I was telling CB, they have
there's so many.
So many.
I like her Sailor Jupiter outfit the best.
Oh, so you mean her Sailor Fuku?
Yeah, her Sailor Fuku.
This is I need season 1. That's
because it's because that's where we are. And I would say that for good guys, for bad guys, I'd have to say Kunzite because he has a cape.
Right?
Like he has the cape. Like
capes. Here we go, Sailor Jupiter.
It's my girl. I love Mako so much. I love her. I also there's a fun quirk to Mako where every time she meets a boy and he does something, she's like, "Oh, he does that like the man who used to love me did that." Oh. Like every time. It's so great. It's so great. They have quirks that I love.
Tabby and I were talking about that as a rewatch because she has an old guy that like she had a crush on him. He's not older.
Okay. I was really confused.
Yeah.
A past dude.
There's a past gentleman.
Yes.
Like an ex?
No, that's the problem. Okay. She had a crush on him. He didn't like her. But then whenever she sees Crane Game Joe, and
that's
all like,
yep.
She's all like, he reminds me of my ex-senior, because that's what she calls. He was like a grade ahead of her. Therefore, it's a Japanese.
Still weird though.
So it's like her ex. It's just like fuck. How to explain? So
the guy she had a crush on.
okay, so say me and Chris went to high school together, and
Yes.
like I'm a sophomore, he's a junior. He would be considered my senior because
Okay.
he's ahead of me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's just like because the Japanese like school system is very hierarchy based.
Mhm.
So yeah, so she'd just be like my ex-senior who, and then like later or you find out it was just because they have a similar voice.
Yeah.
Or yeah, you can play the Switch quietly. And then like another like Matoki, she likes him because he reminds her of her ex-senior's hair. And Tabby was like, "Is this because she's Jupiter and therefore Zeus?" And I was like, "It might be because she's Jupiter and therefore Zeus."
It's also funny because I watched it on Hulu, which was because in the Hulu version, which I'm assuming is the redub, because so she says he reminds me of the guy I was in love with.
Yeah.
Instead of the ex-senior, it's just like, oh, he reminds me. His voice sounds like the guy I was in love with.
Yes, because they realized how it sounded.
Yeah, because it was real weird, and she does it to like everybody. If there's like any guy in the scene, she's like, oh, he reminds me of this guy I was in love with.
I'm like trying to close the window. That's why I'm just like here, and the window's right behind the camera. So,
we're not discussing Penumbra. We are only talking about scene 1 stuff, not scene one.
I was gonna say scene 1. Wow, we got past scene 1 real quick.
Season 1. We're not going into season 4. But yes.
Listen, if we're going to season 4, I'd talk about Haruko because
that's season 3.
See, listen, if we were talking about season 4, I'd still talk about Haruko. Not even gonna run. Not even.
Season, but we're talking about her.
We're talking about her. Give me an excuse.
So one of the talking points I wanted to bring up with Sailor Moon is that as much as I love Sailor Moon, when I was younger, I really loved the romance in Sailor Moon, and I thought it was really great. Now that I'm older, though, and I know everybody's ages, literally all but one couple's questionable now. There's only one couple who's not questionable. However, most of the couples have at least one person who dies.
So
and I
better?
Here's another thing.
I'm just saying, it's a thing.
In the redub, it's even worse because Mamoru, who is Darien, is 18.
That's inaccurate.
It's inaccurate? It is inaccurate? Thank God, because I was like, I'm not okay with this.
No, okay. So in the manga and in Crystal, he pulls out an ID card and he says, I am a high schooler. And he is a high school senior who is 17. In the 90s, they had him, so that he could be friends with Matoki, they had him be a college freshman, but he is still 17.
Yeah.
Oh, thank. He also worked at that. Oh, never mind. That's season 2.
That's late. Yeah, that's later on.
I was going to be like, when? Oh.
Because they age throughout the seasons.
What
now,
are the age differences then?
That's what I was about to bring out. Okay. So here's the thing. When she was Princess Serenity and he was Prince Edmignon, she was actually a fuck ton older than him because she was a moon goddess.
Yeah.
And he was an earthling. So, like, I don't know what their ages were. I just know that the way the lore works, she was a fuck ton older than him. When they are reincarnated, he is 3 years older than her, which isn't that bad, but given their current ages are 14 and 17.
I don't like that. That's
exactly. That's like, now a thing is in the 90s,
which is
in the 90s before he and Usagi get together, Ray, which is Sailor Mars, actually bullies him into becoming her boyfriend.
It's really funny. I find it funny.
I'm just like Ray, because like so the first time she does it, she plans it so that they can bump into each other, but she trips and she falls on her face. But she does not change the dialogue she had planned.
No,
so like he accidentally steps on her head, and then he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he just keeps walking, and then she like gets up and she's like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." And he's like, "Why are you apologizing? I stepped on you." And she's like, "Well, you know what? In order to make it up to you, how about I take you for a coffee?" And he's just like, "Sure."
Yeah.
How hard did I step on her head? Is what I think he's thinking.
Yeah.
And then they just like they just talk about it and everything. And then like as the series goes on, you'll see that she like calls him. And like there's a few times when he's out with her, but he looks wildly uncomfortable. And I'm like, why are you letting this 14-year-old bully you around, sir? But
there's
I have such.
Go ahead.
See, yeah, Jess was 14 dating a 17-year-old.
Like it.
Yeah. That's why now keeping in mind this was the 90s and when all this was written, and so the perception was different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little more forgiving because it's kind of unfair to look at older media through a modern lens, but it is something I want to let people know who are new to it, because like
because
so
if you go
there's
in
that.
blind, it's very like whoa.
Now, as we enter this, I have another thing about that particular love triangle I want to bring up later, but not right now. And then we have Naru and Nephrite. Now, Naru is Usagi's best friend, and she is also 14. Tabby and I hunted the internet to find Nephrite's age because he looks in his 20s. And I'm like, sir, he's 19. He is 19.
No, I'm not here for it.
Now, here's the thing with Naru and Nephrite. Rewatching it, he's not into her. She gets a really big crush on him and everything. Now, he is an evil villain. So he figures out he can use this to his advantage. So his dubious nature, he'll be like, Naru, I'm trying to like break away from the evil people and I need to get in contact with Sailor Moon.
Yes.
And she's like, but I don't know how to contact Sailor Moon. And he's like, oh, well, I just wanted to say goodbye to you one last time. And then like evilly sits out her window going, now she will call Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
like,
it's real wild.
So it's not like a relationship. It's
it's a young girl in love.
It's a young girl in love and an alien who doesn't know what love is.
Yeah.
And at the end, when I don't want to interpret it as he falls in love with her, because I genuinely don't think he falls in love with her. I just think she becomes his friend, and I think he cares about her, and because he dies for her. He dies saving her life.
Okay.
And like,
so
to me, it still doesn't feel like, I don't know. I just don't see it as he was romantically into her. I see it as she is literally the only person who's ever been nice to him, and he's like, I must protect this.
Yeah, I also read that as he didn't fall in love with her, but he learned like compassion because she was just nice to him and protected him a lot. And he's like, oh, what is this? Where I come from, you don't do that. You just take your opponent out.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I think Sailor Moon like shows you more than just romantic love, but she was 110% in teenage love with him.
I mean, it makes sense for a 14-year-old to be in love with a 19-year-old, but it does not make sense for a 19-year-old. Like, if my friend who was 19 is like, I'm in love with this 14-year-old, I would beat them up.
Now, as I just said, she is a normal teenager, and he is an alien general who died saving her life.
Yeah.
This traumatizes her. She grieves over this. They have a whole episode where Usagi her entire dedication for that episode is getting Naru out of the house because she's been depressed for a week and helping her cope with his death.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I think that is so great.
Because like even after everything, she's just like, I'm protecting you. No matter what. You may be an evil villain, but I'm still going to protect you from this person.
Also, Tabby and I can't make chocolate parfait jokes anymore.
So one of
the things is Nephrite is talking to her, and he's all like, well, I might legitimately leave the evil side because they're trying to murder me now, and that's not okay. And so she's talking to him, and she's like bandaging a wound on his arm, and they're just talking, and he's like, all I've ever done is lie to you. And in my notes, she's all like, that's okay, you can lie to me as long as you stay by my side. And I'm like, no, Naru, no.
Child, no.
Why?
And then she tells him about this place she likes with chocolate parfaits, and she's like, "Why don't we get some?" And he's like, "Yeah, I promise, we'll get chocolate parfaits." And as he's dying, he's smiling up at her, and he's all like, "I'm sorry. It seems like I lied to you till the end." And he like chuckles and says, "I guess we won't be getting those chocolate parfaits.
See,
I love you." And I'm like, he's dying with dark humor.
heartstrings just rip them out of the chest.
Right?
Yeah,
And my favorite is she's literally screaming, "You can't break a promise."
She is. She's like,
she's screaming this as he's disappearing. You can't break a promise.
When the aliens die, their bodies turn into bubbles.
Yes,
they get Thanos snapped.
With more bubbles, less dust.
Well, Zoisite turned into rose petals, so I guess it depends.
Yeah, it depends what their element.
Either way, there's no body. There's no body left.
Yeah.
Which is also when she's grieving him, like she and Usagi go to a graveyard, and she says, "There's no grave for Nephrite," and I'm like, "Oh, my small traumatized 14-year-old."
Yeah.
And like she carries around the bandage that was on his arm.
Are you trying to make me cry? Look, my sister hates watching this scene with me because I'm always like, Tabby, they can't chocolate parfaits anymore. And she's like, "Look here, you bitch." And I'm like, don't watch me if you don't want me to make you cry.
Yeah. And then she actually...
No, that does get me like a little. I don't even know who the characters are, but I'm like, that's good.
Okay,
yeah, it's like. Oh.
Ah.
Oh no.
Cody, you can say one more thing, then we gotta move on.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say she carries around his bandages that was on his arm before he disappeared.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but yeah, she literally keeps
unsanitary.
I mean,
yeah, it is.
It was stained with green alien blood, and the next time you see it, it's clean. So I assume she washed them.
Or the alien blood also turned into bubbles.
No, that didn't, because I think you see it on, like, you still see, like I said, the green alien blood stays on the bandages throughout the rest of that scene, but then the next time you see her with it. So.
It's clean, yeah. She just carries it with her around.
No, she's scared. Look, I'm good at telling story. Okay, so the next couple.
Really, I can't imagine why.
I am about to
become a writer.
I'm about to break Cody's heart right here. Oh. The next couple, with the worst age gap. Zoisite and Kunzite.
Okay, listen.
What's the age
I didn't say it was perfect.
Cody, do you know how old Zoisite is? How old do you think Zoisite is?
If I had to guess, is he under 18?
Yes.
Oh, and Kunzite is above 18. Oh.
He's above 20.
He's above 20. Oh. Zoisite, if I had to guess, if I had to take a wild number, I'd say 15.
16, so close. Zoisite is 16 and Kunzite is 25.
Listen, okay, so the reason why I like them is because gay. That's literally it.
No.
I was unaware of this age gap, and I'm not into it.
No.
You know what? Crystal was right.
Look, here's
Crystal
the thing.
did it better.
So I have to. There's a lot about Zoisite and Kunzite, but I have to let you know I have watched this series for over a decade, and Tabby and I, we never thought anything about Zoisite and Kunzite's ages because they both look in their 20s-ish. Yeah. But we were looking up ages because we wanted to make note of all of the couples with age gaps, and so she looked up Zoisite and Kunzite, and she's like, "Sam, Zoisite's 16," and I was like, "How the fuck old is Kunzite?"
Why'd they have to make the gay creepy?
So here's the thing: in the original manga, they are not gay. In the original manga, the 4 Kings of Heaven and the 4 Sailor Guardians are actually soulmates, which is not any better. Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. So, because in the ancient times, the scouts were all drastically older than the little Earthmen,
but the little Earth babies,
which is concerning as well.
But they were all legal in ancient times. The 20-year-old Earthmen can date the 1,000-year-old alien women.
Little weird.
Yeah.
But in modern day, that would make that would make it worse than Zoisite and Kunzite because Venus is 14.
Yeah.
But so yes, in the original, they were not gay because they were soulmates. Now, I'm a bitch about Crystal right quick. One of the biggest differences between the manga and Crystal revolves around the generals and when they die. Like, because remember, Crystal was pitched to me, a Sailor Moon fan, as being more accurate to the manga. Now, in the manga, the generals all die one by one, right? So, like, Jedi dies before Jupiter even comes in. So they've got, like, 3 scouts and Jedi dies. And then Nephrite dies, and then Zoisite dies. And this is important because Kunzite gets his memories back after he finds Prince Eddominion. And he's like, and he's all like, oh no, like, I found our prince, I found our master, and you 3 are dead. Like, fuck. And he, like, has this whole internal thing about how they made a mistake by betraying Tuxedo Mask and joining the villains. Like,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
the thing.
you usually shouldn't betray people.
And then, but in Crystal, they don't die at first.
At first. I was going to say eventually.
And Tabby and I were like, what? Are you leaving
still
him alive? Yes, every time. It's like, why are you breathing?
You should be dead.
Why are you alive? You should be dead. And
when Jadeite was gone for like 3 episodes, I was like, where'd he go? Did he die? And then he showed up later. I'm like, oh, you didn't die. Where'd you go, buddy?
You're supposed to be dead, Cody. Now, here's the thing.
I know he was supposed to be.
So in the manga, the way that the final fight works is, Prince Darien, he's been brainwashed. The villains have taken him. Sailor Moon and he kidnaps Sailor Venus, and Sailor Moon goes to save Sailor Venus. And then the other 3 scouts go and invade the enemy main base, right? And they meet up with them, and all of them are fighting against the big bad together. And then shit goes down. Usagi figures out that the only way to save the universe is to kill her man, so she kills her man and then kills herself. Again. Or so she thinks.
Yeah.
Turns out she didn't kill either of them because his general's crystals saved him and the pocket watch saved hers. And I'm like, then why the fuck did you pass out? But we're not going to go into that.
We're not going to talk about that one.
In Crystal, what happens is she follows him through a portal by herself, and then her guardians have to go find her because they're like, oh my fuck, she left us. And then they run into their old boyfriends, and they're like, no, they're brainwashed and we can't fight them. Get their asses handed to them. And then Venus is like, Kunzite, please remember me because we loved you. And they like attack them so that they remember who they were. And then the generals are all like, we were generals of Earth. Those are our ex-girlfriends. Oh fuck! Yeah. And then the big bad goes, and they die. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
What was the point of this change? Why? What was the point?
It was literally just for them to all to be like, oh hey, we're here when this gets revealed. Goodbye.
Okay. Because it fundamentally changes the scouts being a team and fighting together and, just happening to get separating and then reuniting and, being a force to Usagi's got to deal with her boyfriend over there and these 4 got to deal with their boyfriends over there. And I'm like, I'm not okay with this change. Why? But like, if you've never read the manga and you don't know that that's a thing, it's just kind of
It's like for shock factor almost.
So yes, Zoisite in the original censored dubbing. I want to make it clear there were 2 different 90s dubs. One was censored for TV, one was unedited. You could buy the unedited DVDs. And in the unedited, Zoisite was a boy, but in the edited, he was a girl. So they were a straight couple, not a gay couple.
Yep. And then there's a couple later that are just cousins.
Sir?
Which makes it way worse than what it
Sam.
is.
Yeah, Sam, you told me about that one.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
just want to
and
point that one out too.
And then our final age questionable couple, maybe. See, this one is the final because I don't know. Because we don't know his age. But I'm going to pretend it's 16. That's what I'm pretending. So,
Okay.
Ray and Yurichiro, or Chad. So at some point, this male character comes to the shrine and starts working there part-time, and he bonds with Ray's grandfather, and they are so cute. Like he's
Okay.
dedicated. He's dedicated to working. He genuinely wants to become a better person and become more spiritual and stuff. And like when Ray's grandpa is going a little crazy and she's really worried about him, he like goes to talk to her while she's talking to her grandfather, but she's like, "Not now, Yurichiro," and he just respects it and he stops. But then like later, he's like, "Hey Ray, I want to talk to you about your grandpa." And she's like, "Okay, go ahead." And he's like, "Well, it's autumn, and autumn can mess with people's emotions for this reason. So he'll probably feel better by spring, and he's just being weird now. But he is being weird, and I am concerned, so I do think we should keep an eye on him." And I'm like, right here in this conversation, Chad has demonstrated the fact that he respects her. His English name is Chad. His Japanese name is Chiro. Sorry.
It's cool.
He's
It's
a
Japanese
sweet
name.
bean.
It's cool.
He's
It's a
a s-
Japanese name. Let's not call him Chad. He was doing so well.
And then he became Chad.
So Yurichiro has shown that he respects her, that he respects her relationship with her grandfather, but that he's not gonna gaslight her, that he wants to reassure her while letting her know that like the concerns and everything are valid. And I'm like, you're just so great. You're so great, Yurichiro. And there's another time when she called Momoru, which is Tuxedo Mask, to go on a date, but he's busy thinking about his mission to find the princess. So he like ignored her call. Because once again, he's not into this relationship. She's just bullied him.
She
And
did.
she's walking down the street and she's all like, "Oh man, I should have like had other plans today." And then like Yurichiro's like, "Oh hey Ray," because like he got the biggest crush on her ever. And she's like, "Oh, hey, Yurichiro." And he's like, "Well, if you're not doing anything, there's like this new movie that I wanted to see that maybe you want to see with me." And she's all like, "Oh, I got to play hard to get. I got to play hard to get." And she's like, "Well, I don't know. I have plans." But then he's like, "Oh, man. Okay. I mean, you are really like pretty and awesome girl. So, of course, you have plans. I'll just go." And then he walks away like a puppy who's kicked. And I'm like,
He's such a sweet bean.
She's 14. He's 16.
he's question mark. But
Okay.
we're pretending.
Let's pretend he's 16. Then it's
Yeah.
okay.
Because he does act like a teenager. So
We're gonna say 16 because I want it to be that. way.
Yeah, because
damn it,
we
somebody
like him.
shippable in this show.
Yeah, we gotta have one. Come on.
We gotta.
I mean,
have
like
one.
it's close though.
Look, I can't believably say he's 15, but I can believe 16.
I could not believe he's older than 17.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
not
but-
older than 17.
Okay, listen, Jessica.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. I was like, wait, does everyone die?
Love it. So here's the thing. I'll get to that. All right. So, Cody, did you have any talking points you wanted to hit on, or were you just good with commenting on all of mine and all of CB's questions?
I'm just good. I'm just here for the ride. I'm here commenting. I'll have my own rants later, I'm sure, if we get to them.
Did you have anything, or what was another question that you had?
Another question?
Then I'll pick up the talking point.
I figure
Alright.
we get through your guys' stuff before I just go on tangents and ramble.
I have a lot of stuff.
Excuse you.
I love Yurichiro. He's so sweet.
He is so sweet. He's honestly my favorite man. Just because he's like the sweetest one, and it's just like, God.
So much.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest flaw of the show?
Ooh, okay. What do you think the biggest flaw of the show is, Cody? I almost called you Chad. I'm sorry.
Wow, damn. You know, it wouldn't be the first time.
Why? Who called you Chad?
You know what? I've been called a lot of things. We're not gonna get into it. It'll be a whole other rant.
What is
The
Chad.
biggest flaw. For me, the biggest flaw is because like it's for me in season 1, the biggest flaw for me is the fact that Usagi as a character doesn't really change that much. But then again, I have to remember she's 14 in the beginning and she's 14 at the end, so she doesn't really age that much. So the difference is she's a princess. So like that's my biggest flaw with it at this point, unless Sam has an opinion, because I felt eyebrows.
I actually greatly disagree with that.
Mhm.
But I feel the biggest flaw is that the show. Okay, so my biggest flaw with the manga is I just don't like how certain things are handled at certain points. Like I feel it could have been done better, but there's nothing inherently. And you heard my biggest flaw with Crystal.
Oh, also, one with Crystal is that like because it's off the manga, like a lot of things are sped up.
Yes.
Like a lot of so we are introduced to Sailor Mars in one episode. Literally the beginning of the next episode, she's like, "Man, I'm so tired of fighting bad guys." It's like you fought one.
Wow.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
Just one. Usagi's took it down like 3. Like what is this? Like you took down one and also like I'm so tired of this. Like, you just started.
I feel the biggest flaw is that while the show for the 90s show is that while it does try to handle certain social issues and discourse, it doesn't necessarily do it in the best way. Like there's an episode where they're talking about weight and weight gain, and they are desperately trying to keep the focus on being healthy. But it was the 90s, and so the language is still centered around the fact that in order for them to be healthy, they should, like weight loss is primarily it. But in Matoki, who bless his little soul, he's the arcade user that like half
I
the
love
scout
Matoki.
on. But he's all like, when he tells her, he's like, you don't need to worry about losing weight. Like you're not, hold on. He's like, you don't need to worry about losing weight. You're not really that big. And besides, I like girls with a little weight on them anyway. And I'm like, ooh, you were so close, Matoki. You were so close. So it's like, for me, a lot of it, like,
to stop.
Like half that sentence, cut out the half end. You'll be just go with the first part.
So for me, it's a bunch of that. It's like, you were so close, Joe. You were so close. For the 90s, you did an amazing job. But
I did block a lot of that because I remember that exact episode and thinking like, wow, I don't like this message here because especially when Usagi's literally like working out every day and like not eating properly.
Like she almost passes out from not eating, and Matoki's like, no, let me go buy you food. And I'm like,
I literally messaged Sam, like she's just walking, she runs into Matoki, and he's like, Usagi, you okay? She's like, no. Like he's like, do you need anything? She's like, I need a restaurant.
Like mood.
I was like, that's me. Why is she me? Like she's like, are you okay? Like I need food. Like, do you need water? Like, no, I need a restaurant.
So because of Cody's flaw, I feel like this is a good time.
Sorry, you just said it was like Cody's.
I think it's a good time to transition to one of your other questions, which was, who do we think had the biggest character development? Now, Cody, who do you think had the biggest character development?
You go on a rant. I'll think about this one because I just have to remember season 1.
So I think season 1, Usagi has the biggest character development. And the reason is when she starts out and it's just her, she is a 14-year-old with magic powers who can turn monsters into moon dust. She is having the time of her life. Yes, it's scary. Yeah. I mean, it's scary and she gets scared, but overall, she loves being Sailor Moon. And then a little bit into it, she's just kind of getting tired of it because now it's getting boring. It's like it's like whatever. She's tired of fighting monsters. Why does she have to do this? And then Tuxedo Mask No, not Tuxedo Mask. Somebody. Fuck. I'd look at my notes, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Someone almost.
What I would give to have magic powers and fight monsters.
They get
I
hurt.
mean,
And when they get
that's
hurt,
interesting.
she's like, whoa. It's like,
Reality.
maybe we don't do this anymore. Oh no, it is. Because Tuxedo Mask almost dies. Like he almost dies right in front of her. He gets kidnapped. She gets all of her memories of being a moon princess, including the traumatic when the love of her life did die in front of her. And she has a breakdown right then and there. She's like, no, I'm done. I am not Sailor Moon anymore. I am not watching anybody else die. That's like literally what she says. And then Ray smacks her, and she's like, he got hurt for you. Like, you're not gonna like let him waste that. And Moon's like, I'm not strong like you. And then she like looks up and sees that Ray's crying, and she's like, oh, whoa, maybe
I got the tinglies.
Yeah. And so there's just this thing, and then Amy's all like, maybe we should, just sit back. Artemis is like, you know what? She's overwhelmed right now, so let's just give her time. And Amy's like, yeah, I found the way out. So we'll just leave this dimension pocket hole, and you give her time. Everything's got to soak in, which I'm like, I appreciate that they're like, please, she's traumatized right now. While she might have needed the slap to the face, it's all good. But then at that point, Kunzite comes in, whose boyfriend had just been killed.
Oh,
by their boss. So he's a little mad right now. He's a little not okay. So he's ready to murder a bunch of teenagers. He's
primed.
So he goes to like fight them. Sailor Moon's still a little bit in shock, right? She still doesn't want to fight. And like Mercury and Mars stay back because they're like, we're gonna guard her. And Venus and Jupiter are all like, bam, because they're the heavy hitters, which is another interesting thing. Their powers are like different. Some of them are more powerful attack wise, and some are more powerful utility wise, and they know this. So they all have different roles in their teamwork. Well,
what's gonna work?
So they go to fight. They get knocked on their ass. And then after they get knocked on their ass, Mars is like, Mercury, stay with her. But then she gets knocked on her ass. And then Mercury's like, you're the princess, you stay here. She gets knocked on her ass. And Moon's all like, motherfucker, nobody knocks my friends on their ass. And she pulls out her crescent wand, because I will not call it the moon stick. I don't give a fuck what they rename it.
I hate the names of these things. I hate the names of these things. They're so stupid.
This is my moon stick.
They changed it to moonstick because that's a more accurate translation, but I feel like crescent wand was just better.
Sounds so much cooler.
And so she pulls out her crescent wand and the silver crystal, and she fucks him up. She fucks him up so bad that she destroys the pocket dimension they were trapped in. And then she's all like, I will protect my friends, motherfucker.
Sounds dangerous.
Oh,
destroying a pocket dimension.
She is so dangerous. And then, but she's just sitting there because she did not intend to destroy a pocket dimension. She just intended to protect her friends. So she's like, oh my fuck. I did that.
I did it.
My bad.
So then already we're halfway through the season, and she has developed from a 14-year-old girl high on power to being bored to realizing shit is serious and having war trauma. And then she starts having nightmares, and she starts having nightmares of him dying over and over and over again. Like, she's talking in her sleep, and Luna's like, I don't know what to do for her because, like,
drama.
We don't know if he's dead or alive, right? And so then they help her process. Like, she goes out with Venus, takes her out, right? And the Kunzite has a strand of her hair from a fight. I'm like, oh, this makes smarts. So he tries to use that to find Sailor Moon. Well, Venus had been brushing her hair, and they're both long-haired blondes. So she gets mistaken for Sailor Moon, which fair, because Sailor Moon's technically a copy of her, meta-wise.
Yeah.
And then, so they target Venus thinking she's Moon, and Moon's like, because I'm the princess, they're going to go after the people I love to get to me. Man, fuck that. Let's take out the Negaverse / Dark Kingdom. So then that happens. but it's not magically fixed. Like throughout the rest of the season, she has low points and she has high points. She has episodes where she's more upset and then episodes where she's doing better. And I'm like, this is a very realistic and grounded way for her to be. And then I mimic anybody who thought Nephrite was going to make you cry. We're going to get to the final episodes of Sailor Moon's character arc. So they, up to this point, Darien had been brainwashed and had been fighting for the bad guy. He's very bad, though. He keeps fucking up all of Kunzite's plans.
It's very funny. It's so funny.
Kunzite is so done with his shit, but he can't say anything because his queen's got the hots for him. So he's all like, my boyfriend did not die for this. And you can just tell Kunzite just gives up. He's just like, whatever. Here's my evil plan for the episode. I'm going to go cry in a bathtub with some bourbon. That's what I imagine he's doing. This is a canon in my head. And so we get to a part where Sailor Moon and the Scouts had successfully gotten Darien's memories back. He was a good guy again. And then they super brainwashed him. Like Barrel's all like, his memories were still buried in there. Oh. Time to fix that.
Excuse me while I just...
Everybody knows.
I don't.
I'm also slowly realizing I don't know what the fuck a character arc is, because I was like, you know what, you're right though. I'm just like, I'm just slowly realizing I don't know what the fucking character arc is. Because I'm like, you know what though, you're right. I just watched the show casually. She analyzed it. I'm just like casually watching. I'm like,
normally I casually watch it, but I had notes.
I'm just
enjoying this fun romp.
I don't do casual anything, but
I've lost my ability to casually watch. I don't think I ever had it actually.
Okay, so the Scouts. Now, another thing I appreciate is that it isn't a show where the main characters just wait for the bad guys to do everything. No, they've been like researching their enemy. They've been keeping track of their patterns and everything. They have found the enemy's strong base, and
iconic.
so yes. And so they are planning an attack and an invasion. Yeah. And Usagi, who cannot cook, she is terrible at cooking. She makes her family dinner. And they're like, Usagi, why did you? She's like, I just wanted to do something nice for everybody. And I'm over here like, she's doing it because she doesn't know if she's going to live.
Mm-hmm.
14-year-old.
Yeah.
And then, they meet at Ray's shrine. And Ray's and she's like, hey, Ray, did you kiss your Chiro goodbye? And she's like, why would I do that? And she's like, well, because, you don't know what's going to happen. And Ray's like, nothing is going to happen. We're all going to be fine. And I'm like, you're a motherfucking liar. And then the rest of the Scouts are like, oh, we're fine. No one's going to get hurt. No one's going to die. We're going to be okay.
If you say that, people are going to die.
So no one kissed their significant others before they left.
No one.
And this is
well, Amy might be dating Rio at that point. We don't know.
Yeah, we're not sure. But whoever they're interested in, they've not kissed, and they make this up. Usagi points this out later.
Yes, this is an important note to make.
This is an important note.
Excuses to kiss. Come on.
Hold on. So technically, look. I understand, Ray. They were not dating or anything, so not kissing Yuichiro. I get her. So they go to the D point, as it's called.
The D point. I love that name.
My sister loves it. Now it stands for the dark point because it's the dark kingdom. But they call it the D point, and my sister was like, "They're underage. I can't make jokes. They're underage." So, and then Queen Beryl, at this point, all of her generals are dead. So she's just like, you know what? The DD girls, you go handle this. Which Tabby's like, the DD girl.
Ooh.
So hard to be sad when I'm watching things with my sister. But so easy to make her sad. So the DD girls are a team of 5 alien bug ladies.
Bug ladies.
The leader has this tiara thing that creates illusions. This is important.
It's also important.
So they start to fight them, right? First the D point is located in Arctica or Antarctica, one of the two. It's very snowy. It's very cool.
I think it's Antarctica.
Thank you.
Down.
So sorry.
A cold place.
So they go there and they see Tuxedo Mask like on chains and his suit is fucked up. And Usagi's like, it's Tuxedo Mask. And literally Mars, Venus, and Jupiter are holding her back. And they're like, bitch, no, that's a trap. And she's like, but what if it's not? And they're like, but it is. And she's like, what if?
What if?
Mercury has a tiny suit. She had a smartphone before smartphones were a thing.
Yeah,
so she has a smartphone and a visor. And so she's analyzing it. And
I would just throw something at it,
And then they go, well, I mean, it's physical. It's just.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think that is illusion. Oh my god, just throw stuff at it.
So it disappears. And then, the DD girls say something. And then it appears again. And Mars is like, no idiot would fall for that twice. Guess which idiot?
Where's the main character?
Jonas immediately runs after and they tackle her again and they're like, bitch! And she's like, but what if?
But dude!
This is why I love the show. It's like serious points and then goof.
Yes.
And they commit to the goof.
And Mercury's like, but it not. It fake. And then Jupiter's like, see? It's fake, bitch. And then it shows Motoki, who, again, all the scouts have a crush on the arcade owner. I want to take a side note to say I love him because he's like 19 or so. And anytime anyone remotely goes, they have a crush on you, right? He's like, psh, they're middle schoolers and I love them like my little sisters.
That's the appropriate reaction to realizing that a 14-year-old has a crush on you.
He shades Darian on accident because he's sitting there talking to him.
Good.
And Darian's like, they have a crush on you, right? And he's like, they're middle schoolers. Who among us would date a middle schooler? And Darian's thinking of Ray, and he's like,
oh no, I can't tell him.
I was forced. I was bullied. You don't understand this middle schooler.
Literally.
Yeah, it was my favorite.
If someone dated a middle schooler in high school, you would get mocked relentlessly.
For Motoki, he's also a college student. He's like 19 or 20, and he has a girlfriend.
So much worse.
Appropriate. His girlfriend's in her 20s. It's fine.
Yeah. Motoki and his girlfriend are great. They're there's like. So
hold on. Back to the ending.
Hey, back to
right. Yeah.
So
Tuxedo Boy is fake. Right.
Yeah, and then it's Motoki. And Jupiter just has a moment of Motoki, but then she's like, oh, no.
Wait, illusions.
Wait, oh, fuck, not the real him. Well, then the DD girls, because they're magic monsters, so their arms turn into vines, and they trap Jupiter and fly her into the air, and they start electrocuting her. A big, super important point to note here is that Jupiter's magic elements are wood and lightning. So while they're trying to electrocute her, he's like, oh, you want a shock? I'll show you a shock. And then her little antenna, because she can pull out an antenna and summon lightning.
Ow.
She summons so much lightning that she creates a super blast, and 2 of them die in the super blast.
Iconic. We love a queen.
But it creates this ice stalactite, and you see Jupiter in it. Now Jupiter's not immune to lightning. Is the big thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No, she can be electrocuted.
Yeah.
So her own superpower that's concerning.
I mean, usually she's not hitting herself with it, but yeah, she was wrapped up by 5 creatures. All of these things are conductive. So she supernova, electrocuted, blasted, killed 2 of them, but she's hanging off the edge of this thing, clearly burned and battered. And Moon,
I'll take you out with me kind of thing.
Yes. And Moon is trying to climb up, and she's like, "No, Mako, you can't die. You said we were gonna look for boyfriends together. You can't just." And Mako's sitting there
that's your priority.
Look, when your friend's dying, you will try to guilt them with anything. And Jupiter's just like, you know what? I love you. We were great friends. I will always appreciate you. And Moon's crying, and she's like, "No, you can't die, and she like says it several times, and then you see Jupiter die.
Yeah.
And the other scouts have to take her away. And I'm like so the very first time I saw this episode, they had cut out so much of this episode and the previous episode that they just made it one episode. So I'm going into this and I'm all like, I forgot about this part. So I'm like, oh, I'm glad I rewatched it. Just Stevie, we love a queen. I think she's just a princess. She's a princess, but you know what? Both, including chocolate parfaits.
She took my joke. I was gonna say, y'all like getting chocolate parfaits.
So then they continue on, and like we're down to 3 of these things. Hold on, in my notes I want to make sure that I get the order right. So let me go to my notes.
Just like no one have plot armor. Just like it's a murder here and a murder there. Murders for everyone.
No,
wanna die? We can do that for you.
No, and plot armor does not exist yet.
Oh, so in my notes, Moon reminds Mako that if she wants to find love, like she said she wanted to find love so she can't die, and if she lies, Lord Enma will pull out her tongue in the afterlife.
I remember that.
So she's like, you'll be tortured if you lie to me, so you can't die right here, and then she just dies.
It's wild.
So at this point, Moon starts having another breakdown because she really does not handle her friends dying well. So Mercury, the level-headed one, the always understanding one, slaps her. And she's like,
why does she keep getting slapped?
That's the only way they know how to make her stop.
Listen.
Because she's like, let's not do this anymore. Let's just go home. It's not worth it. And Mercury like slaps her. And she's like, Jupiter died so we could continue this mission. She's like, we're not going to disrespect her like that. We're going to go on. And Moon's like, I guess. But then like Mercury's little scanner is all like, there's evil shit over here. So Mercury's like, y'all go that way. I'll go look at this. And the other scouts are like, but Mercury. And she's like, no, I'm not as strong as Mars or Venus. So I'll go check this out. You two need to stay with the princess. And I'm all like, she going on a suicide mission right fucking here. This is suicide. But I should have.
Y'all know what this is.
I should have had a big trigger warning for this stream. I'm sorry.
Oh,
but,
yeah. I didn't
have to put it in the description. But anyway, so Mercury goes on, and the three like aliens, they pull up like the illusion of Rio, which is kind of her on and off love interest. I didn't mention him earlier because he's the same age as her, so it wasn't an romance.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it shows
cute.
him, but she's all like, no.
I know better.
She uses her computer and she's like, bitches, it's an illusion. But that doesn't save her because they just like come from under the snow and like they do the vine thing and they start electrocuting her. And she's like, my visor and my computer aren't like, they're not going to help me. So she lifts her supercomputer and she smashes the illusion tiara with it. And then, oh, damn it. I wanted to mention that before they separated, the episode's like really nice. It does like these still frames of Mars and Venus leading Usagi away, and Usagi just can't look away from Mercury. It was so sad. Aww. But so Mercury breaks the illusion things, and then they kill her. And it's like, she didn't kill any of them, but she did make sure that they could not use the illusions on her friends anymore. So like for her, she had a mission and she finished it, and then she dies. And Moon senses it the moment she dies. Because that's a thing. They're all like telepathically linked. They can sense each other when they're
delightful
like,
feeling your friend dying.
Oh yeah, she's so not okay with it, and she falls to the ground, and she's like, Mercury's gone, and this sucks. And Mars and Venus are
split up
because Mercury had a mission, and she needed the powerhouses to protect the princess.
or the powerhouse protect all
Don't,
of you. But it's
don't
cool.
you insult my Mercury and her noble sacrifice.
Listen, Mercury is great. We're Mercury stands.
I stand all of them, but then, so Moon's, sitting there now remember, as I just mentioned, they had come from the ground to get Mercury. So now they're coming from the ground to get Moon. Venus is not dumb. She sees the little red glowing. So she's like, watch out. And she pushes her out the way.
Again!
And she gets captured. And then, she's in this thing, and you hear them fighting inside it. Now, Venus's attack is Venus Crescent Beam, and she uses her finger. So she puts her finger, point blank, and shoots a laser beam and kills one of them.
Oh, kills I thought she was killing herself.
Yeah,
No. Why would you do that?
No.
What's the point?
Who's gonna smack her now? Mars. Mars will always.
Mars will still do it. She's still around.
Mars didn't smack her. So another thing you should know about the relationship dynamics. I like this show because their personalities clash. Sometimes in just, play fighting, like Mars and Moon are always at each other's throats.
It's my favorite.
It's like, why did you read my manga? And Moon, well, because you weren't reading it. You can read it later. Mars, not if you're crying on it. And so stuff like that. And they also get into serious fights where they have to, work to repair their friendship. So it's it's nice. Mars and Moon are the worst. They are the most at each other's throats. But they have also been shown to be the closest. Because there's this time when Sailor Moon pretends to be, to try to leave the scouts. And, Jupiter's like, oh, Mars, you must actually hate her because you're letting the bad guys strangle her. And she's like, no, I have the crescent wand. She trusted me with it. I'm taking care of it for her. And it's, supposed to show that. So Venus dies at this point. And
TV's they're just dropping.
Which means there's only Mars and Moon left, right? And so Mars is dragging Sailor Moon away, and then they stop. And Mars is like, I've always loved our fights. And Moon goes, why are you saying this?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And she's like, why are you saying this? Let's just, and she tells Mars, which here's another point where you can see her changing. She doesn't say, let's go home. She says, you go home. She's like, I will finish it. I will handle it. You go home and be safe and I'll come home to you. And Mars is like, no, it'll be fine. I'll go handle the 2 remaining ones. Then we'll go fight Beryl together. CBR.
You can never say something will be fine.
It'll be fine. It's fine.
Never assure anyone.
It's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
So
that's why you say this is probably going to go terribly, because then it might go well. Maybe.
So then Mars gets pulled in, and we don't get to see what's going on. We just see this giant snow pile and these flashes of lights, and then we see the leader of the 5DD girls pop out of nowhere, and Moon's in shock because she just saw her last friend get dragged into a pile. And as previously shown, she's not the best at handling this.
No.
So she's
aware.
So she's in shock, and she just sees this other thing. And I guess in her mind, she's like, and now it's my time. Well, then you see Mars's flamethrower attack, the biggest flamethrower attack she has ever used, come from the snow and murderize this thing. And I'm sitting here she's fighting for her life in this snowbank, and she senses her friend in danger, and that is her priority. Well, then you see one of the people, you see she, the snowbank opens or explodes or something, and you see Mars laying there, battered, bruised, just fucking, you
destroyed.
Think she might be dead.
Not doing it. Need some milk.
And there's one more left, and she's standing right over, she's floating right beside Mars, and she's about to attack Moon, and Mars very weakly grabs the vine, and she's like, we're not done. And then she uses the rest of her life energy because like they have magic, but then when they get down to like their battery drains, they can use their life to do things. And she fries it, and she just like dies smiling at Usagi. And Usagi goes to a cliff and just cries.
I think she's gonna jump off. I'm like,
The alternative.
She's not okay. Now here's the thing. Then hold on. I'm trying to remember. Then Jupiter's ghost appears behind her and puts her hand on her.
What?
Oh yes, their bond is so strong. They come from the afterlife to support their queen. So her ghost appears and she's like, Usagi, it's okay. And like the other three appear and they're like, we gave our life to protect you so that you can go save the world because we believe in you, because we know you can do it, and because we know you have the power. And she just goes, okay, yes, I'm not gonna, this is a thing now. This is a thing I am doing. And she gets up, and then Beryl's all like, yes, good. She's alone now. And like sends this purple magic ball to her into the throne room where Beryl's like standing there, and there's a shadow, and then the shadow falls down, and you see Tuxedo Mask just kneeling, kissing Beryl's hand. And
as one does, casually.
And she's all like, I've brainwashed him. He's mine now. And now he's gonna kill you.
No! Wait, this is the rose throwing guy?
Yeah, the rose throwing guy. He got brainwashed. And Moon's all like, have I not been through enough? Is this not enough? And so they fight. And I mean, like, at first, it's semi one-sided because she's not very good at hand-to-hand. But then she like powers. Yes, but also this is the love of her life that she has to, But then she calls upon her power, and she's like, you know what? My friends did not die so that I would lose to you. And she uses her tiara, and she like sends, now for some context, her tiara
turns into, like that.
Hold on, it turns into an energy discus that can cut through lots of things. It has cut through people before.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And she sends it directly into his breastplate, and she's like pushing it through with her willpower, and he's like, oh my god, he collapses to the ground. And then she's all like, okay, good, it's done. But then like he slowly gets up, and she's like, what do you mean? So then, if all my friends jumped off of Risher, I don't know, Mom. I'm probably going to be depressed. LSTV is having very little experience with this.
I'm frustrated.
The rose throwing guy. I mean, he's been the rose throwing guy for 25 years. Let's be real.
Let's be honest. That's his main character trait is throwing the rose.
Yes. Which, as an evil guy, he can throw his black rose, and it like turns into this vine trap thing that electrocutes.
It's a magic rose. I just thought he liked throwing roses at people.
Oh no, they're magic.
You forgot to cover they're magical. Like I thought they were just normal roses.
No,
he's so romantic.
Sorry.
Oh, and throughout his,
he gets back up. That's where we are.
Okay, so yeah, he gets back up, and now throughout the whole thing, there's been this locket. It's a music locket. It has a very distinct thing, and she gave it to him in the Moon Kingdom to symbolize her love for him. Yeah. And like as Tuxedo Mask, he had it. It fell. He gave it to her. It's been a whole thing. So she pulls it out, and she's like, I'm going to try one more time to remind you of who we are. I'm like, sir, if you don't remember now, she's going to tiara your ass again. I am convinced.
Power of love.
You better fucking remember who you are. See, the thing is, all of the other scouts have an obvious element, right? Sailor Moon's power is her love, her will to protect, and her determination. Which is what makes her the second most powerful scout. But the first powerful in season 1.
Okay.
But
I'm like,
so she sits there.
All of them are dead.
He's kind of like because he's about to kill her with a sword when she yells stop, and her yell is so powerful. He's just like this.
Yeah.
And then she says it, and he's like, wait a sec. Wait the fuck a sec. This melody sounds familiar. These things she's saying sounds familiar. And then he touches the locket, and when he touches the locket, he like glows the Healy power, and he's healed. Yay!
Wait, did you say? Oh, you meant healing. I thought you meant like Heelys, and I just imagine like the shoes, and he's like,
he's zooming out.
I got really confused.
Remember who you are. Now, one of the reoccurring things Tabby and I love to make a joke is that he can literally fight against anything except when like Zoocyte summons magic crystals and throws them. Like he's been scared by them. Or plant killer. Weed killer. So Beryl, seeing that, oh my fuck, my little boy toy has been my brainwashing's undone again. I'm so angry.
You really need to get better brainwashing. I mean, not quality. Not quality.
Not quality.
I mean, quality brainwashing here.
So, in the original, she doesn't say it. You won't find this in the new dub, but in the original, my favorite thing that Queen Beryl says is she's like, "Oh, isn't this so sweet? I'm getting cavities." Which I love it. She doesn't say that anymore, and I'm so sad. But she like summons this giant purple magic crystal, and at this point, Tabby's like, "Oh no, Sam, his one weakness!" And I'm like, "A jumbo magic sharp pointy crystal." So then Beryl throws it at Sailor Moon, which gives it bonus against Darien because he's got to protect her. And then he like back throws a rose. The rose skews the crystal.
He was gonna jump in front of it, and I'm like,
I'm not done.
Well,
so he throws it. The giant crystal shatters into shrapnel. He grabs Moon and jumps with her. The shrapnel all goes in his back. And then his rose goes into Beryl's cleavage. And she's like, like her body starts cracking. And he's like, is his love for her so strong that this rose is murdering me? Is that what's going on here? Like, this is literally what she says. She says destroying my body, but basically murdering me. And then she, like, goes, slinks away to her boss. And he and Moon get to have this thing. And he's like, I'm glad I remembered you. And she's like, fucker, you're dying. And he's like, yeah, but I love you. And then he dies, and she's holding
a healer. Or, like, a first aid
He's the healer!
He's the healer!
He's the healer!
She's the healer.
She is?
Yes.
She has an attack called Moon Healing Escalation where she purifies people. That's why she purified him. That's why he remembers things. She just can't heal minor injuries.
She just can't heal a flesh wound.
She heals your soul.
She heals your soul, but not your body.
That's really useful when your body's
got a broken arm, you can't do shit.
I know there are so many lines from the OG dub that I miss, but the new dub's okay too. So then, like, Beryl's like, Queen Natalia, I'm fucked up. We're gonna die. And Natalia's like, aight, we're gonna merge. And like, because I'm just a floating ball of darkness. We're gonna merge. You're gonna be Super Beryl, and then you can kill her.
Super Beryl.
So then it goes back. I recently learned she's called Super Omega Beryl. This entire time I've just been calling her Natalia Beryl.
Okay.
But right, like that's a choice.
That is a choice.
So then we go back to, her, and he's dead. He's dead. He's like laying there dead, and she's like about to kiss him goodbye, which I always find creepy, whatever. But then she stops herself and she's like, I can't kiss you, to which I added the line, because you're dead. But she ignores my line because she's a cartoon character, and she just goes, because none of my friends got to kiss the boys they loved before they die, and it would not be fair if I did it. And I'm like, I mean, these priorities, but also just sisters before dead misters. Am I right?
Like, that's why I pointed that out earlier. Because I'm like, listen, it's a huge thing later.
I have a medicine drawer. I am an adult.
Baby, I don't think a first aid kit was gonna fix the shrapnels in his back.
I mean,
but so then she goes to fight Beryl, Mega Beryl. And Natalia like hits her with a power ball, and you see the like ice stalactite, like the one that all the other scouts died on.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
But it opens at the top, and she's in her princess. She's in her
I need them.
I love that you caught. I said dead misters. Thank you.
I also caught that.
Okay. So she like goes into her princess form. So she's like, "Let's go, bitch! I got the most powerful crescent wand." I'm sobbing. This is horrible. Why do people like this? So she's, got her crescent wand, and she's like, "I'ma fuck you up, bitch." And she's like, "Why? Why bother?" And she's like, "Cause my friends died for this. So let's
all my
go."
friends are dead.
Because everyone's gone.
And like they're fighting, and there's this part where she's like, she has a moment of self-doubt. She's like, "I don't know if I can do this because I don't know if I'm strong enough." And then she thinks back. She has flashbacks of talking to her friends about their views on love. So she's like, Amy, she's like thinking about Amy and how they're talking about love, thinking about Ray and how Ray's like, "Look, me and Yurichiro are just friends, bitch. Please back off." And then
back up, please.
And then talking to, Mako about love, and then Mina about love. And then she's like, "No, I love them, and I'm not going to let them die in vain." And then their spirits manifest beside her, and they yell out their power. So they're like, "Mercury power, Mars power." And so they use their ghost power to help power her so that she like super nukes the D point. So Beryl dies, and as her explosion's getting bigger, you see,
sorry,
yes, you see like you see Tuxedo's dead body, and it's encasing it, and then you see Mars's dead body, and it absorbing it, and you slowly, as she's narrating, because she starts monologuing as it's absorbing everyone's dead bodies, and she's like, "I really want to just go back to when we were normal girls, and for everybody to just be happy and healthy and everything." Now, do you remember I said her power was love and will and determination and wanting to protect?
Yeah.
She magically resurrects all of them.
Yeah.
But none of them have any memories of what happened.
Wait.
So they're all normal girls.
So they're normal girls living their lives.
Does she remember?
Only
okay.
the cats.
That's good. Because it'd be really bad if she remembered all of her friends die and they're just like, oh wait, I did that to one of my characters. Anyways.
We're just gonna
spoilers.
Sweep
But then like the end of the episode, she runs into Momoru, and it's like identical to how she first met him. And then like her friend is like
Rose Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anyone's names.
You did. I also keep switching between Darian.
She does, and it's very funny to me. It's just like
so. She, like her best friend's like, "Oh, he was kind of cute," and she's like, "No, the fuck he ain't." And she's like,
right.
"Girl, you might have just met your soulmate." And she's like, "Please, I know who my soulmate is." And she like talks about how in this dream there's a guy who is
tuxedo
silhouette, her soulmate.
Boy.
And it's like, bitch, that was literally your soul point. And that's how season 1 ends. Oh, also, before she called on her ghost friend, it cuts over to Luna and Artemis, who are the cats, and Luna is her guardian cat, also semi-mother figure.
There have been cats here the entire time.
Yes, there's been 2.
Girl, cats.
Well, yeah, and then they went in canisters in the beginning, and then nothing ever happened.
They've been here the entire time.
Their powers. They're the ones who give them the power things and train them and teach them how to be scouts. Yeah.
Why did
Luna
they like bite some people? Stop the children from dying.
We'll talk about the cats in a second. So Luna had been injured, and so she's at Usagi's house. She senses when she turns into Princess Serenity, and she's like, "No, if she uses the crystal now, she'll die. She's not strong enough to live past it." And Artemis is like, "We have to let her." And Luna's like, "No," and he's like,
"Because it's what happened to Usagi's mother."
He's like, they need to save the world. And Luna is crying because she's like, "No."
Are the cats people?
No, but they talk.
Or the cats?
They're cats.
They're talking cats. Talking magic cats.
They're talking cats.
Magical talking cats.
Okay. Whose mother died?
Thank you. Oh, the queen. Remember in the ancient times?
In order to seal up Queen Beryl, Queen Serenity used the
The
ultimately,
Romeo and
Sue-
Juliet's people mom.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, just Juliet's mom.
Yeah.
And for some
she's-
background,
Yes.
sorry, go ahead.
It's basically a Queen Serenity, in order to seal the evil purple cloud demon, used the silver crystal to seal her, just like Usagi's currently doing. So it's literally like mother like daughter.
Usagi is Sailor Moon.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's Moon.
Okay.
Now, okay, so a little thing on the cats. The cats are magical sentient beings.
Mhm.
And their like entire purpose is to serve the Sailor Guardians and to mentor them. So Luna has was Queen Serenity's cat. And then Queen Serenity was like, you have to take care of my daughter and like teach her and everything, even into the next life, right? Luna
That's
takes
a
this job
burden.
very seriously. That is basically her child now. So,
Yep. I've adopted her. She is mine.
yes. The series is on Hulu.
I'm literally like thinking like, my essays due at midnight. That means after midnight I'm free.
Hey, I already told you I'd do a watch party with you if you want.
I know.
Should we do a watch party, actually?
Not right now, Cody.
I mean, now, but like at some point.
He's like, I want to. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, all right, but yes, that is.
I have a
so
4-day weekend.
Look, there's so much death, but
so much, but
they
no one
also-
actually dies, which is
that's not the generals died. Nephrite don't come back.
I don't really have feelings about them at all.
So, okay,
their death scenes weren't very intense, other than the one guy that's like parfait.
Pudding. He's like chocolate pudding. Yes.
But I'm sorry, we can't get those chocolate parfait. What's even worse is like
you can't break a promise.
During the time when Usagi's trying to help her with it, she brings their other friend to help her with their grief. And he's like, hey, why don't we go get chocolate parfaits? And Usagi like hits him. He's like,
yeah.
Bro.
He's just trying to help, man. And he's all like, let's go get chocolate parfaits. And she's like, no. And he's like, since when do we hate chocolate parfaits? I don't know.
Yeah. Poor Melvin is just innocent.
Are we more into vanilla now?
What is this?
What's going on?
Strawberry. Is it strawberry? Is that our thing?
I think it's strawberry.
Is it a mix? Is it a swirl?
Okay. So CB, what is did I answer a question or was that
I have no idea.
No, that was a question about character development.
Yeah, character arc.
Basically, Moon has the best character arc, and
because I said she is the worst, and you're like, oh, hold on, let me flex.
Hold on, let me pull out my research.
Tells the entire plot of a season.
But I mean, honestly, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much, that is the plot.
Okay, so then one of my talking points I wanted to is Jadeite is the first villain you're introduced to. And I think he's the most competent one in this season.
I have who's the coolest villain, I think.
Who's the scariest?
Who's the scariest villain?
That's a different answer. But Jadeite, okay, so Jadeite goes out. You'll see there's an episode where he's just walking around and observing people and then decides his evil plan will be around what's like popular. And like his marketing is amazing.
You talked about this guy
it's so good.
Yeah.
He'll be all like, there's an episode where he magics a radio station at midnight. And he's like targeting women and girls in love. And if you send in a love letter, he will read your love letter online in his sensual voice. It's lovely to listen to.
It is.
And you also win this crystal brooch. Well, the flower brooch seals your energy until you go.
Of course it does.
But
you just wear it all the time?
Some people, they don't know it's stealing their energy. CB, if you got a piece of jewelry and you started wearing it and then you're tired, are you going to be like, I wonder
Probably.
I wonder if it's this flower. God, I'm tired.
I'd be suspicious because I've watched Sailor Moon, but in a universe of Sailor Moon with no Sailor Moon.
Right.
I agree. He would have a podcast. I think he'd have a podcast, but not a YouTube. He's got to keep his voice in there. So, but the thing is, like the police
who has a YouTube channel, but like you have no idea what he looks like.
Except that would be Jadeite. He's Jadeite.
Corpse.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Sorry, corpse husband. I don't know anything about you. So if
I
you're
don't know.
offended, I called you Jedi. But
he's
but, like-
maybe watching.
but in that episode, like they say that when fans or police go to the radio station, they're like, we don't have this channel. I don't know what you're talking about. And it like shows them inside getting these love letters, and like the guy in charge of the station's like, I don't know what the fuck to do with them.
Like, what is
getting
this?
We keep getting these letters for this program we don't have. And then Jedi's minion for that episode is like, oh, I'll take those. Don't
I'll
worry.
take it
Remind
off
me,
your
I'll just-
hands. It's no trouble, really.
So that's just one of those like great things. He's also amazingly manipulative and gaslighting, which I am only complimenting because he's a bad guy and it is
Yeah.
shown
Right.
to be a bad thing. So
He's good
like,
at being a bad guy.
So like the weight loss episode, he runs a gym. And
Yeah.
and when the girls go there to exercise, he's like, you're all looking lovely. You look beautiful. You've done so much good work. I love it. Although, you know, we've got these new saunas that if you use, it'll make you look thin and beautiful and everything. And I'm like, sir, right? So
like just
like he's so good at marketing and manipulating people, and I'm like, you're so good. If he and Kunzite had paired up before Kunzite's depression, the scouts would have been fucked. They just
Yeah.
would not have survived.
listen. If J-Dad is a salesman, like in this real world, like he would be the #1 salesman because
He
he's
does
good.
market research, damn it, and he understands his target demographic.
He does. Like he's a
Like-
bad guy, and he's terrible, but he's good at his job at being
Yeah.
a bad guy and being terrible.
Like whenever he explains his thing, he's like, you know what? Teenage girls, so much energy, so much love. They're such a good resource.
Yeah.
It's such
You're
a
going in a good direction. Then you kind of like, it's like, what are you going?
To be fair,
Well,
actually, okay. So, fun fact: in the manga and in Stars, he's murdered, but in Sailor Moon, the '90s anime, he does not die. Beryl gets mad at him. Like, he finds out who Sailor Moon, Sailor Mars, and Mercury are. He tricks them into revealing their identity. And he's like, now I can kill you whenever I fucking want. But he, like, lost that fight. So he goes back to Beryl, and she's like, motherfucker, you lost again. And he's like, but I know who Sailor Moon is. And she's like, I don't care. I'm going to put you in a sleep for 100 years or however long, or an eternal sleep. And she
yeah, the curse of the eternal
and
sleep.
puts him in a
That's
storage
just
room.
bad villaining.
Oh, Beryl's the sucky villain.
Terrible villain.
She's like we said, Jada's the most competent one.
Yeah, so like Jada is just that. Nephlite dies, but he dies because Zoisite's a petty bitch.
Oh,
He dies.
listen.
He dies because Zoisite also dies because Zoisite is a petty bitch.
I was like, through this entire thing, I'm like, I am Zoisite. As much as I don't want to be, I like out of these four, like I'm Zoisite because I'm petty as fuck.
So another fun thing that I wanted to talk about is, so at a certain point they stop using monsters as the like villains, and they start like cursing people or transforming people into monsters. So Sailor Moon gets her crescent wand so that she can heal them and turn them back. Well, whenever
Unless they have a
she does
flesh wound.
Yes, unless they have a flesh wound. And so she's all like, when she does this, they say refresh. A lot of times when things that like this happen in anime, you're like, is this just for the audience or is this an inverse thing? Sailor Moon answers this question. So when Kunzite is about to die, he says, I will not say refresh.
Yep. Yeah, he refuses.
He's like, I won't. And then he dies. But Tabby pointed something out. As he's dying, he says, I am coming, Zoisite. I will join your soul in limbo. Sailor Moon's refresh purifies people. He didn't want to say refresh so that he didn't go to heaven so he could be with Zoisite.
Yep. You want to be with his boyfriend?
Wait, are they
Which
the
again-
age difference one?
Yeah. I'm like, again, I want to, but no.
Yeah, it's the
Is it the child that dies second or the adult that dies second?
the adult dies second.
That
And like when the 16-year-old dies, he's like legit, like, he's depressed.
All of his grooming gone to waste.
Like, he has a picture of him that he carries around. Like, it is a thing.
Like, before that point, I was like, maybe Kunzite just humored him. No.
No. Like, he's like, I'm in love with you. I'm deeply in love. It's like, he makes it apparent.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
but yes. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the refresh thing. Another funny thing with that. So there are 7 rainbow crystal warriors, which, like, the silver crystal, you know, the big important thing, was broken up into 7 pieces so that each piece, or so that the 7 warriors could be trapped in the rainbow, so they could live lives as good humans and not, you know, be asshats. One of these is a cat.
Yeah. Yep. What was this? Red Butler?
Yeah, Rhett Butler.
Rhett Butler.
Yeah. Now, when Rhett Butler, it was really interesting for me because when all of the other humans are turned back into their shadow monster form, they're monsters, and that's how they act. They're evil and stuff. Except the cat. The cat he saves Luna from getting hurt. And then
from like stray cats.
Yeah, and then when he's the monster, he just like saves
yeah. But he also saves her from like a mob cat.
Yes, but that was
a mob cat gang.
So then he and he just walks up to like. Did we start talking about Gone with the Wind? No, there's a cat in Sailor Moon named Rhett Butler. So the cat monster is just kind of standing there, and he looks at Sailor Moon. Never once does he attack them or start a fight, and I'm like, why are we turning him back into a regular cat? We could just keep a cat monster. He could just fight with us. But also his little girl that is his owner would have been so sad. So
yeah.
But when he refreshes, he says meow fresh.
Yes.
Meow fresh.
Listen, I love the show. It's so goofy. It's my favorite. It's like they find a bit, they're like, oh, we could ignore this, or we could just run with it. And they're like, let's run with it.
They like I feel it's a really good balance of humor and seriousness. And that's how they handle things.
I've laughed at so many moments where I'm like, they could have not done that, but they just did. It's like, cool.
I shipped it for a very, very long time until yesterday.
Listen.
Questioning life.
Okay, so a backstory. When I was finishing Crystal and Venus was like, they're my boyfriends, I literally messaged Sam, I hate Crystal. She's like, why, what happened? I said, they made Zoe Sight straight. Or Kunzite straight. And she's like, well, okay, hold on. In the original material, this is what happened.
Sir. My tone was, we can't blame Crystal.
Yeah, she's like,
but we can't blame Crystal.
Yeah, she was like, that's a very valid point to be upset about. But we can't blame them for going to the original material because that's what it was. I'm like, you're right, but I'm still mad. And now I find out they're like 8 years difference, and like I feel very like, I don't know how I feel about them.
So I can't get past the age difference.
It's not even the age difference. It's the ages themselves.
It's
like the age difference is like whatever. It's just like if he was 18 and the other was like 30, like done deal.
No. No.
He's like, I don't care. They could be 72 and 80.
They could be 72 and 50.
I'm fine with 72 and 80. After you get past 50, do whatever the hell you want.
Why 50?
Like after you get past 40, but not before that.
30. I think 30 is fine.
Listen,
it makes me uncomfortable.
As long as you're both consenting adults, whatever.
I'm an adult.
I'm also an adult. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm 18. I would not trust my fellow 18-year-olds to make good decisions. I wouldn't trust myself to make good decisions.
Children.
Did I say it was a great decision? No, it's just what you want.
Well, it did. So I'm glad that we have provided a refresh from your moody vampires.
Oh my god.
So, okay, CB, pick another question.
Okay.
While I look at my notes and see if there was anything.
While she picks another question, I'm gonna go tinkle again. I have the bladder of a goldfish. I'm so sorry. It's fine. It gives you plenty of time to pick one and think. It's fine. I'll be right back.
Okay. I have a question.
What's your question?
Who's the coolest powers, in your opinion?
Oh, that's gonna
It's an
be
important question.
It is. So I'm waiting for Cody to get back to go into that. But a little bit is that their powers do differ in a way from in the different versions of the media. So I will take that into account as I pick. But I'm waiting for Cody to get back.
It's so much essay to write.
Sam has to turn. Sometimes, yes.
Can you pet your cat for me?
You over here.
Yep. No.
No.
Thank you.
Sir, you knew it was coming. You were watching me flail. Don't meow.
Kitty.
He always like meows and startle. So I will, while we wait for Cody, I just want to say, so this is like the reprint.
Okay.
Right? And I mean, I think the reprints are nice looking. However, I miss the covers of the original because look, these are just, they're so gorgeous.
Is
so
that
cute.
the flower boy?
Yes, that's Flower Boy.
Yes, this is Flower Boy.
That's the rose thrower. Rose thrower.
Which-
Oh my god, his
is
mask
90s.
is so stupid looking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my favorite in Crystal.
Hold on. The rose throw is actually a 90s anime thing only. He didn't have that in the manga in Crystal.
That's
Because he needed a power. Look, that rose
flowers.
Flowers.
is the gay couple reincarnated people. Yes, the gay couple are reincarnated from the generals that use like Usagi had her, or the princess had her 4 guardians and he had his 4 generals. So
And they all got reincarnated.
the generals are very sad backstory.
Yes.
All right, now what were you gonna say, Cody?
My favorite is in Crystal. There is a scene where like Usagi like passes out because she uses the moon healing escalation for the very first time. So she just passes out and Tuxedo Mask just carries her away. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so warm in his arms." And then she wakes up in his apartment and she like walks up to him with a mask in her hand because she sees his outfit out. And so she literally takes the mask and puts it to his face. And it's no different. It's like 2 inches of white fabric. She's like, I don't know how I never knew it was you. And I'm like, girl.
I don't know either, girl.
Me, like, I'm also confused. How did you not know?
Sweetie.
Like, literally,
Oh, honey.
it's not like it covers his eyes. In the 90s, it like covers his eyes. But in Crystal, it doesn't. So it's just like, you can see his eyes. It's literally just...
Okay, so the person I think has the coolest powers is actually Sailor Moon in season 1 because her tiara is very versatile. It turns into a destructo disc. It can like turn into a thing that captures because like it expands and goes around the enemy. She can like throw it above a crowd and drop healing dust. She can fucking resurrect people from the dead.
Right.
I mean, she can't heal a cut, but you know,
No way. We're not, miracles.
Destroy a planet if she really wanted.
She can bring back the dead, so when they do die, she can just bring them back. It's fine.
Yeah. Now in Crystal, their powers are a little more flexible. Like Mercury can just fucking chuck water and shit, and Mars can do all that. In the 90s anime and in the manga, they specifically have to say like their command attack for their powers to activate. So that way, other than Moon, I think Jupiter's are pretty cool because she can summon the lightning.
She also has like the only one with like an actual saying for hers.
Oh, she can like that's a thing that actually, if you pay attention, when she just does the attack, it's weaker. But when she sits there and she's like, "I call upon my guardian planet Jupiter, bring forth the thunder," it's like stronger and hits the lighter.
It's so like it's a whole thing.
I love it so much.
It's also I love Ray's exercising attack, like her Rin Cho when she does that.
Rin Cho Kai.
Like Like,
I can't remember the order. It's actual Shinto.
Yeah.
Exercise.
Exercise.
Do some push-ups.
Yeah, she's exercises.
To answer Jessica's question,
The
in the 90s anime, therefore the version where they have a relationship, they do not remember their past lives, nor do I know if they were together in their past life. If you're still referring, or if you're asking about the gay couple. From what I know, they are only a couple after becoming brainwashed servants of the Negaverse.
I think so too.
So I don't even know if they know how old they are.
Yeah, like it's like.
That's concerning.
Well, I mean, when you're an evil general trying to take over the world, do you
Look,
really care?
When you're
Just
kidnapped by an evil,
brainwash
by an
these
evil
two
king-
guys to be gay?
No, that's not what I meant.
Okay. I was really confused.
Like, no.
Okay, so the generals were reborn on Earth like everybody else. Beryl finds them and is all like, bitches, you're mine, kidnaps them, re-brainwashes them. They're now evil generals in her army. And that's all they know.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So I don't even know if they know how old they are.
Yes.
Like,
okay.
Jedi
And
could be
Kuzai
like,
and Zoisai eventually fall in love.
yeah, Jedi could be like, I'm 17, but I don't remember anything before 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like
This is so concerning.
So Carrie's favorite powers is the disguise pen. Sailor Moon has a Luna pen, which she can use to disguise her into anything else. And like, I mean, it has some limitations, but it can also give her skills that she did not previously have.
my favorite use of the pen is when is in Sailor Mars's introduction video or episode, and literally, so it's about a bus that has to go to that kidnaps people. So it was a demon bus, and they're like, we have to catch this bus, and she's like, Pen, turn me into a flight attendant. And Luna's like, why a flight attendant? She's like, because it's my responsibility to make sure the safety of these passengers as they use these transportation. That's her only excuse. That's it.
Literally, every the manga, Crystal, the 90s anime, it goes down that
It's
way.
canon. And it goes through it's every single one. It's my favorite thing ever.
And it's one of those things where I'm just like, she's 14.
Yeah,
and
she's 14. Yeah, it was so funny. She's like, I'm a flight attendant. It's my job. Like,
so the fun thing about this is sometimes the villain can dodge the attack, and sometimes they're just frozen in place by some sort of weird magic paralyzing. So like, for me, I'm like, oh, that's terrifying, because like all of a sudden you hear Mars Fire Soul, and then you can't move, and you're like, well,
I'm gonna die. It's been a short life. Yeah.
So as for who's the scariest villain, I'm gonna say Zoisite.
yeah, because he's the pettiest.
Okay.
He is such a fucking petty bitch.
He is. He like petty bitches. We scary.
So the thing with Zoisite is by like the time Zoisite dies, Queen Beryl has recognized that Tuxedo Mask is actually Prince Endymion, which is the dude she had the hots for. So she's all like, kidnap his ass, capture his ass, I want his ass.
His ass? Yeah.
How old is he at this point?
17. How old is Beryl? Nobody knows.
Okay.
I think she's like centuries old at this point.
I
think the magic's preserved her.
Too. No, she was reborn too.
She
showed
reborn
her
too?
in a bubble.
Oh, really? Oh. I think
in the manga, she like went down in there and woke Metalia back up in modern day.
Yeah, I was gonna say she found Metalia and woke her up.
So like she could be 16, she could be 19, she could be 32. I don't know.
I was gonna say she could be 47. We don't know.
No idea. We just know that she is madly in love with Prince Endymion and Wahib.
You know what? I'm gonna do a Google just real quick, just real fast.
So just to see if you can find it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So but yeah, so Zoisite's like, yeah, no problem, I'll kidnap him, what the fuck's ever, sets a trap and everything, and then like he's supposed to capture it, he's caught in a trap, but he's like, I don't like this motherfucker because he hurt my face, and I just don't like his face. And so he like summons a sharp, pointy crystal and almost kills Tuxedo Mask. And then he's like, yeah, motherfucker, I'll murder you. And then Barrel's all like, you tried to kill my man. And Zoisite's like, about that. And Kunzite's like, I'm taking responsibility. Please don't. I know he's a dummy, but. And then Beryl just murders him. And I'm like, oh. And also, Nephrite died because Zoisite was Queen Beryl's like, Zoisite, I need you to find the silver crystal. And Nephrite's like, you know what? I've been getting on the Queen's bad side lately. I'm gonna find the crystal. And Zoisite's like, that's my job.
Literally, he's like,
no, it's mine now. So Zoisite's like, you motherfucker. I know I've been fucking with you for weeks, but you know what? Now I'm gonna arrange your assassination.
It's literally what happened. So Queen Beryl is 20-something. In both the U.S. info and the Japanese info, she's 20-something. She's also 6'2".
That I
Damn.
Yeah, she's a tall woman. She is the Amazon.
Not the 5'6" person.
not Sailor Jupiter's 5'6", but.
So does chat have? I am a terrible host. I should have let chat know. You can ask questions at any point, and we will answer your questions as well. Things I can't talk anymore.
Yeah, so she's 20-something. Man, she's 20-something. I also like in Crystal that Queen Beryl is like, in the original, she's like all about getting that ultimate like silver crystal to Metalia, and in Sailor Moon Crystal, she's like, nah, I'm tired of this bitch. I'm fucking keeping it for myself. Fuck all of you. This is mine.
That's one of my favorite things because she's like, Metalia's like, yes, get the crystal so I can destroy the world. And Beryl's like, bitch, if you destroy the world, how am I gonna rule it?
Right.
So then she's like, I'm just gonna betray her and keep it all to myself. So then there's this scene where Usagi's like, but she's just using you. And Beryl's like, I'm using her.
Yeah, literally. It's like, we're using each other. It's fine.
It's fine. I
just get it before her.
Another thing that I don't like between Crystal and the manga, again, I'm only nitpicking this because Crystal was supposed to stay truer to the manga, is because they got separated the way that they did. Venus in the manga stabs Beryl through the torso to kill her. In the anime, they're like, oh, the necklace is her weak point, and so that's what we have to use to stop her. And then Venus, with this very long sword, like pins the necklace to air, and Beryl's just standing there, letting
the entire
her.
time.
There's just like this awkward amount of time too, and I'm like, why? Why could she not just stab her in the stomach?
Just like a little like,
or in the face.
Yeah, because I also thought it was weird that they're like, oh, that necklace is her weak point. I'm like, a necklace?
No, in anime we do not stab people in the face because in anime, whenever you cut someone's face, they become psychotic and seek to murder you.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. You also get like cool You also get cool eye patches if it's over the eye, or like face bandages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. Like that's why Zoisite hated Tuxedo because he cut him in the chest.
He literally cut his face. Yeah.
Okay.
So a funny
I'll keep that
thing.
in mind if I ever end up in an anime.
So a funny, like, reoccurring thing is when Zoisite goes to pick things up, like, he'll be hit with a rose or a rock or something. His hand will get hit, and this just puts him out of commission for a bit. He's like, my hand! And then, like, things happen.
You have another one!
There's an episode where Sailor Moon goes to pick up a crystal. She gets hit in the hand, and she's like, ow! And then she picks it right back up. And I'm watching it with Sailor Moon. I'm like, ha! Who do you think I am? Zoisite.
Also, if he gets dirty, he's upset.
But one thing I appreciate, Zoisite is a very prissy man, but one thing I appreciate about him is that he's all like when he's in a sewer, and he's like, oh, why must I do this? But he still does it, and he's still willing to go through it. He's just lamenting how much this sucks.
Yeah, he'll still do the dirty work, he just doesn't want to. and he still hates it, and he will complain the entire time.
That's respectable.
Yes, exactly. That's another thing I love about Sailor Moon is that all of the characters, like, I don't think I would describe any of the characters as being just like hyper feminine or hyper masculine. It's just they are all such a good combination of being on the like, spectrum of it, and it's fine. Nobody like cares in the show. It's just normal.
Yeah. Like Zoisite is just really feminine, and some of the ladies just happen to be a little bit more masculine, like Mako whenever she chucks somebody across, the street.
So Mako's like the only one where that does become a thing, but that's like because it's part of her character arc that she like wants to be hyper feminine, but she knows that by society standards she's not hyper feminine, so it causes a lot of insecurity with her. And the first thing, like when she meets Usagi's great at making friends and everything. And when she first meets her, like everybody's telling Usagi, oh, she's so scary. Oh, she starts fights. Blah, 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 blah. Like that morning, these 3 guys, like thug guys, had like bumped into Usagi and were gonna, be mean to her. And Mako just like fucking kicks their asses. And then Usagi's
so hard.
Usagi's like, why, thank you. And Mako's like, yeah, don't mention it. Puts her thing over it and then walks away, and her hair flips. And you see her rose earring and there's like sparkles. And Moon's like, her perfume is so nice.
And I like her earrings.
Her earrings so good. And then she goes to school and everyone's like, she starts fights. She's a delinquent. She's so scary. And Moon's like, but is she? But is she? And then at lunchtime, she goes out on a little park and Mako's just sitting there like, because nobody wants to talk to her because they're afraid of her 5'6" giant ass. And Moon's all like, oh my god, her lunch looks so good. And Mako's like, oh, hey, hi there. And she's like, can I sit here? She's like, yeah. And then somebody, like, a flying baseball is about to fly at Moon's head, and Mako catches it just fucking bare palmed. And my palm hurts just witnessing this. I'm like,
yes.
And then
I'm still thinking about how far I can throw someone, but I am paying attention.
Well, Mako is
really curious.
She throws the ball like way out of there, and she sits down, and Usagi's like, "Oh, thank you. Like, can I, talk and stuff?" And Mako's like, "Yeah," and they're just talking. She's like, "Aren't you scared of me?" And she's like, "Why would I be scared of you? You're a pretty girl with really nice perfume. You have great earrings, and you like." She just like points out every feminine part of Mako that, she goes out of her way to show. And you just see a change in her eyes. Like no one has ever appreciated this about her. And she just like melts. And I'm like, and it was that moment that Mako said, if anyone hurts her, I will kill
them. They will be destroyed. Also, Mako is best girl. I love Mako.
She's so great.
She is so great.
She's also fucking impressively strong. Like there's an ice skating episode where this professional Russian ice skater tries to lift Mako and he can't. And Mako's just like, oh, she's like, he's not that much taller.
He's really not.
But then she's all like, oh, I'm sorry. I know I'm a little heavy. And I'm like, because it's muscle. Because it's muscle.
Yeah, like.
And then she lifts him over her head. This 14-year-old girl lifting this full-grown man. And everyone's like, oh my fuck. And Mako's just like, nah, this is a thing I do. Just and
also,
like, go ahead.
There's actually, she's really good at ice skating because back in the Moon time, they all used to go ice skating.
Yeah.
And the only one who was good was Jupiter and Moon. And then you see Moon, who is struggling. She's on the struggle bus.
There's some sort of weird disconnect between her and her past life. I believe trauma has prevented her.
Probably, because like everyone else is like fully connected to their past lives without knowing it. And then there's just Moon, who's just like floundering.
The poor girl. She does have a slight identity crisis every now and then. And that's why she's in Amazon.
Like Amazon.
Yes, that's why. That's the real reason.
Another
she's also a judo champion, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think she was. Or she's a champ. She's an athlete of some like martial art.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shudo, based on the way she keeps throwing people over.
People over her shoulder.
Generally.
The only one who beats her in hand-to-hand is Tuxedo Mask, because he's evil. And he's all like, you can't take me. And she's like, bitch, watch. And then he gets her and he like stops his fist right there. And he's like, fight me again when you're better. And I'm like, this motherfucker is such a bad villain.
He's so bad. Another quirk I love so much is Venus. So you know, like the popular sayings, like, oh, like the early bird gets the worm. She gets them wrong, but very close every time.
The early bird fights the bird.
Yeah, literally. And like it's always someone else being like, do you need this? And she's like, sure. Like she gets them all wrong. It's like, I love that they all have quirks that like don't really, they just like makes them human.
Yes.
Like they all like little quirks that are just like them and their own. Like,
so there was one more thing that I wanted to definitely check, because I was going to try to cap this at 3 hours. And it is, yes. So what I really wanted to like, one of the biggest things I wanted to discuss is the female friendships and how the girls in the show, their perspectives on these change. And like the first time Usagi and Mars get into a genuine fight, she's like, or Ray's talking to Yuichiro, and she's like, girls are weird, right? Or she's like, we're weird and complicated because female friendships, she basically just says that they're fickle, that like one fight and everybody's gone. Well, Usagi is sitting there trying to figure out how to fix it, right? But like Ray and Mako had just pieced out. She's like, if you're just gonna be a bitch, we're just gone. Well, it kind of shows that Usagi's the only one used to having friends at this point. And that's like canon to their backstory, is basically Usagi's the only social one who had friends, and she befriends these outcasts.
Yeah.
Well, so Usagi's sitting there and she's trying to figure out how to, you know, make up with Ray. She even like, she's eating these delicious foods and she's like, I'll take this to Ray, which is also a callback to an earlier episode where she advises her little brother who's like made a female friend of his mad. She's like, girls love gifts, just apologize and give her a gift.
Right.
So that's essentially what she plans to do for Ray, apologize and give her a gift, and it's food, which is like Usagi's thing. So it's, you know,
Usagi, food.
So she like goes and like Ray kind of figures out that Usagi's like there for her and it's okay to fight. And at the end of the episode, it also shows Amy and Mako showing back up because they're like, you know, I didn't like how earlier went and I want to do like apologize and kind of help them fix things. And Mako says, yeah, because, you know, female friendships, they die easy. So we got to really make sure that it doesn't, you know, die. And then, you know, they go there and they see that Ray and Usagi are like fake fighting. And they're like, oh, they're good again. It's all great, which is a stark contrast to the end of the season when they all die for each other. So I like that it shows that development of their friendships. And there's a few times, like at least twice that I remember, where, as I said, Ray bullied Rose Boy into being her boyfriend. But Rose Boy is the reincarnated soulmate of one of her best friends. And they have a discussion about this because she's like, I'm sorry, I know you're hurting too, and basically I don't know what to do. And Ray tells her, she's like, you know, I'm not upset anymore because he loves you and he chose you, so you just better be happy with him or I'm going to kick both your asses.
Literally.
Valid.
And I'm like, I love that is how the show does it. And there's another one with, now, Venus, in her past, you know, she had a police officer best friend, and she had feelings for this dude. Well, they think she doesn't realize it, but the dude and her police friend are developing a relationship together. And she realizes it when they think that she dies and he comforts her and she sees them and she just disappears, which I'm all like, bitch, if you faked your own death just because I got your we would be having words. Because she's like, she describes the girl as being like her older sister.
Mhm.
And like throughout the fight, the older sister kind of gets turned into a monster, and Usagi's like ready to kill her because that's Usagi. Usagi's like, you hurt my friend. I don't care why. You hurt my friend. And Mina's like,
Murder.
Mina's like, don't hurt her. Just heal her and turn her back. And Usagi's like, but why? She
Murder.
broke your heart. She betrayed you. She took your man. And Mina's like, he fell in love with her. He chose her. I can't control that. That's
Mhm.
not, you know, like
Her
I
fault.
love them both and I want them to be happy. And so I like that it's a reoccurring thing. That
Yeah.
they're like, yeah. It also, because it's from the main character's perspective and they're not side characters, it shows it in a positive light. So
Yeah.
I think that it could help somebody realize, well, it's not me, or it's not my fault that my crush didn't return my feelings.
Yeah.
So,
Which is a lovely thing.
yes. Also, there's earlier when I said there's a difference between like characters' personalities in the 90s anime, Rei likes boys just like all of the other girls and stuff, and she's very actively tries to date. In the manga, she was burned once in like her backstory and now thinks that all men are useless scumbags. So
Listen,
like,
Rei and Usagi
She's
fighting.
gay.
I mean,
Yay.
Rei and Usagi fighting are my favorites because it's especially in the beginning. It's always like the little things, but it's like I don't know how to word this properly. Like they fight, but it's nothing big. It's
over
like
the manga. Just like
it's like over the manga.
Personalities clash. So
or it's like, oh, one of us is a hothead. Like, oh, who you calling a hothead? Like, I don't know. Who am I calling a hothead? Yeah, literally. And it's like the way that they talk to each other is kind of how me and my best friends talk to each other. So like for me, I'm like, I can tell y'all are gonna be good friends.
And they're literally the closest. Like that continues to be a thing throughout all 5 seasons. It's just that Rei is always her. It's like nobody is more for Usagi than Rei is. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, because they fight all the time, and it's just like over little things, and they always get together.
Yeah,
it is just so cute.
On the English soundtrack, there's a song called "Who Do You Think You Are," which is just Sailor Mars and Sailor Moon shit talking each other, and that is the song, and it is such a great upbeat song. It's like, "Who do you think you are? You're such a klutz."
Yeah.
Just like stuff like that, just literally shit talking each other.
We got them good.
And especially in the beginning when like the 4 girls get together, and Luna's like, Usagi's gonna be the leader, and Sailor Mars is like, her. Miss Klutz over here?
I don't think so.
Okay. With her as leader? Not on my watch. And then by the end, she's like, I miss our fights.
No, she said, I've always loved fighting.
Yeah, I always loved our fights.
She wasn't dead yet, so she couldn't miss anything.
She dies.
Yeah. But like still it goes from the beginning of her being like her leader, Miss Klutzy. All right, I guess. Miss doesn't take anything seriously. And then
dies for you.
Yeah, to literally like, I always loved our fights. It's like, oh no.
I love our fights. I love fighting with you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make sure, literally on my deathbed, I will make sure nothing kills you.
Yeah. Like, excuse me a moment while I go take care of business and die. Just don't worry about me.
It's such a great show just about
friendship.
One of the things I love, it's about friendship, romance, love, your emotions, grieving, the trauma, and it does it in a way that's not preachy and almost like it's just subtle.
It's organic.
Thank you. Yes, it's very organic, and I adore it so much.
Really? I never would have guessed.
I will say
it was part of my formulative years.
I was 4, so
it's formulative years too.
Literally.
So, Sailor Moon is kind of like your Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Definitely.
Okay.
Another thing to point out.
I was 4 when that came out.
in one of these interviews, when somebody asked her what the difference between the anime and the manga was, she said the main difference for her was that the anime was a little more male because most of the team was male, and the manga was 100% female because she is female and, you know, was writing it for girls. I don't necessarily think there's like that does explain some things, because there's definitely like some sexism in the anime, and most of it's treated as just, you know, bad. But in
like with
season
Shingo, like with Usagi's little brother, but we're, you know, just.
Wait, what did Shingo do?
What it was like when they're on the family vacation and the monster was attacking, and literally Shingo and Usagi's dad are like, we'll take, like, Usagi's dad's like, we're gonna take care of this, and she goes like, yeah, Usagi, you go over there, let the men take care of this situation.
Oh, yeah. He's like 10 though.
Yeah, but it's still like it's
it's just like stuff like that.
It's more it's
well, when I say formulative years, I mean my teen years, because like you have several places of your formulative years. Like when you're a toddler, those are super formulative, but your like early puberty is another formulative, and then
I took a psychology class last semester.
CB's like, I got this. This is where I shine.
Okay, I'm just a mom, and these are things I need to know.
I did want to say one hot take before we ended.
All right, well, hurry up because CB's got it.
I have an essay to write.
My hot take is I think that Crystal handled Mamoru and Usagi's relationship better than the original, because in the original, it literally they fight the entire time. Like,
Sir, no, CB may have to leave us, but
they fight the entire time.
They don't, but it changes. Like at the beginning, there's legit hostility, and then the closer it gets, it's fun. It's no different than when her and Ray. Like by the time she sees him with the painter, she's gleeful. She's like, I'm gonna go tease him. You know, she's like, I'm gonna go fuck with him right now. So like they genuinely develop a friendship before they get to the romance. And if you pay attention to the way that they tease each other, it actually changes. I kept note of it every time they tease each other. I was like, frenemies, and then I noted how it evolved. So
that's why this is why you're the host and I'm just here. Like, yeah.
Now, as to which one handled it better, that I think is also just very preference, because I do prefer the original romance, but the reasoning is different. So we're gonna go ahead and do the outros. CB, Cody.
Who am I?
Who am I?
Breaks in the song.
Who am I? Who are you? Who do you think you are?
Goodbye. Bye. I'm CB Friends. I'm a young adult fantasy author. I have a YouTube channel and Instagram and all the other things. Yes, I talk about being a college student and a teenager and a writer and that stuff. Yeah, my brain's really functioning right now. I'm gonna be so good at writing this essay. 1 hour, let's go. I'm gonna die. Anyways, yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay.
I did really well.
Well, that's CB. My name is Cody. I am a gay creator. I'm a gay shit because straight people had it too good for too long. As you can tell by my rainbow flag in the back. It's always there. It never goes down. I am a romance writer. I'm working on my debut paranormal romance with werewolves and witches and shit. That's about where I'm at right now. Follow me on social media while I figure out how to use it, because I still don't know what I'm doing. How do y'all use social media? I don't get it. Do you post opinions on there? Like, what do you post? I need help. That's me. Hello, hi. Links in the description.
Yes.
Follow.
Hi, and I am running Mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things, and I host live streams, either write-ins or discussions like this on my channels on Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. On Wednesdays, I post videos about writing, parenting, and writing parent things. I have a Ko-fi coffee if you want to support the channel, which I will edit into the description after this stream.
Give Sam money.
Give it support.
You can also follow all things Sam by signing up to my newsletter down below. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks everybody for watching this on the replay. If you're watching on the replay, if you want us to do another one, go ahead and let me know because we would love to cover season 2. All right, and that's all. Bye.
Bye.